All right, stand for the pledge, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right. Let's start by saying Happy New Year to everybody. I hope your holidays were all great.
Thank you.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Should be a good one.
All right. I know Rick's coming. He's not here yet. Should we move forward with the appointment of officers?
Or do we want to hear from the public?
We can,
Yeah,
I think we need counsel, don't we?
to hear from the public?
Not to hear from the public.
What do you
Yeah, why don't we start with the public
Okay.
portion?
Yeah, can we really begin with that, Rick?
We can listen to them, yeah. Sarah, you're first on the list?
Take your time.
Please.
Well, it's a new year, and it's great to be here, and Happy New Year to you all. I wanted to just take a little of your time to follow up on my meeting with you of 2 meetings ago when I appeared. Let's see. So the first thing I wanted to do was provide some more detail on the crab and fish survey of Georgia Pond that we're proposing to do with Dr. Bradley Peterson, a colleague of Dr. Gobler. So per Rick's suggestion, I gave you a little more specification about the timing, the vessel, and what will be accomplished. So I have that for you here, and I'd like to pass that out.
Thank you.
So this is the project that we'd like, where the timing is important, because we'd like to do a winter survey. And Dr. Peterson is in Jamaica, lucky guy, doing some ecological thing down there. I'm not sure what, but sounds like a good deal to me. Anyway, when he gets back, they would like to do the first winter survey. Basically, then the rest of the work would be done in the summer, and it's trawling to measure fish populations, species density, species composition, and also the winter thing is assaying the crabs in the mud in the winter, which is very important to know if you're going to ever dredge the pond or, the impact potentially of pond openings as well. So, Tyler, I wanted to tell you that Dr. Gobler said while he's measuring the crab larvae during that stage of their life cycle, he can measure other species of crustaceans. So we'll start to get some kind of a sense of the populations of those as well in the pond.
Yeah, it's great.
So anyway, Dr. Peterson does need to use a motorized boat on the pond. Its description is here for you. It's a small boat. And
He has no other way of getting around besides the motor?
no, I think not.
He's pulling a dredge.
He's pulling a trap, a trawl trap to survey the fish. And he'll also have a GPS system that will track where he goes, so you'll get a spatial display of where the sampling took place.
There's no other way to do it. I mean, you can't pull a,
I don't think you could row it and get the speed you need.
Normally allow outboard motors.
you're allowed to have outboard motors.
We
in-
Bayman use them.
Purpose.
Bayman have motors.
Yeah, the Baymen are on there every spring with the motors.
Yeah.
This is only a
There's certain
10
time of the
horsepower.
year, we're allowed to use them. This is a 9.9 horse motor, which is legal anyhow, unless it's in the summer.
So it'll be a total of 3 days?
Yeah, Two or three summer surveys and one winter survey.
Are you gonna try and do the winter survey this winter?
Yeah, that's why I'm bringing this first on the agenda, because,
That, if
You-
I'm, just off the top of my head, that would be legal under the, it's less than 15 horsepower and you're doing it in the winter, so the boat would be legal.
well, two would be in
No,
the
the summer
summer.
ones would need,
Okay,
The trawl may need special
Trawl.
permit.
yeah, we should.
Yeah, which means we can set a special, we can issue a special permit, but I think the town board needs to be on board with it as well.
For trolling.
Yes.
as well as
Yeah.
the motorized boat, right, Diane?
No, the motorized boat is in the code. If you're 10 horsepower
Oh,
or
if you're
less.
under 10,
So you're good to
Right.
go.
okay.
But the trawl, utilizing the trawl may be the issue.
That may need town board and not your
Well,
approval?
it would, no, both. It would need
Oh.
both.
Because
Yeah,
prohibited in the town code, right? So you
Right.
need to actually get the town board's
Right.
permission.
yeah. So
we
use
can
of a,
research it
yeah.
and get you on board before, real soon.
yeah.
Any proposed date for this survey?
Well, again, he's in Jamaica this month,
Yeah.
so it would be, my guess would be early March, but as soon as I know that, I'll let you know.
Great.
And, following up on your suggestion, Diane, we have the name of Bayman, he'll interview them. I've spoken to Kim Shaw about any records in the Natural Resources Department, on Larry Penny's old surveys or whatever, just pulling all the data we have on the fish and the crabs and then doing a compilation and giving it all back to you in a single report, which I think would be kind of neat to have.
And is the point being that we want to determine whether the height and/or openings of the ponds have any impact on those species in the pond?
Well, I think it will help, like the number one here, the objective. Yes, Diane, that, it's important to understand what impact opening the pond has, in terms of the life cycle and biology of the fish and the crabs. And also to, when the town was doing the major dredging proposal to the Army Corps and the DEC, there was nothing published about the fish in Georgica Pond. So, we have a lot of anecdotal information, but we thought it would be important and helpful for all of us to, actually get exactly what the fish and crab populations are doing there.
Okay.
So we need baseline data. just like
Yeah,
we need
it's
with
a
everything.
baseline report.
And majorly your point before about, with dredging operations, knowing where crabs are overwintering.
Yeah, I mean,
Where
there's a
what
real
parts of the
hotbed of
pond.
overwintering, in a
Yeah.
particular cove or something, you want to know that.
Yeah.
Sarah, is there a plan that outlines where the actual sampling will take place?
Well, as he says, he will be doing it in all locations of the pond, creeks and the main pond. And that will be on a GIS, so you'll see where he went,
During the dredging process?
yeah, the
Trawling.
sampling, the trawling process, right?
I wonder, though, if this could be a problem if it's determined that opening the pond more often than we do it will eliminate some of these species to the point where the state may come back and say, for that reason, you're only to open it twice a year, let's say.
I think it might be the other way around. I don't think
Yeah.
you're gonna find a whole lot of freshwater species in the pond other than maybe white perch. Okay, so I think it's probably gonna help us demonstrate down the road that the need of letting that pond to maintain the equilibrium in the species that are there, that are discovered there now. The nice thing is, if he's got some baseline, and we're able to do this on an annual basis and track it over a number of years, if, let's say, this coincides with the letting of the pond and the dredging, and we see the crab numbers start to go up and things like that, we can basically, when we're going back to the agencies, whether it's DEC or Army Corps later on, we can say, well, listen, this is when the pond was really in a severely, damaged position. We had these kinds of populations. We've opened the pond up, we've dredged it. 3 years later, our population tracking is showing that, A, there's more crabs, B, the distribution is greater, so the water quality in the pond is greater. This is, speculation, but hopefully you can, that this is the first step in that.
But we should be really interested in finding out what's there anyhow. I mean,
Yeah,
We really
yeah.
need to,
Yeah,
this is knowledge.
and all
we
this
need.
data will help us get permits in the future, of course,
What
too.
do you, I mean, we
I
need
guess
to
we
know.
could ask any regular fisherman what's in there, right?
Yeah, the only problem is
Anecdotal versus scientific evidence.
yeah,
You really
this,
need
this
that.
guy's documenting it, When somebody talks about what they, when I was a boy, we found whatever there. You know what, unfortunately,
they-
it doesn't translate.
Scientific data.
Yeah, well, they also have proposing as local knowledge. They're gonna
Yeah,
bring,
I think that's
they're gonna
good.
bring
You're gonna get a little of that.
Kevin Miller, Richard, and Donald Lester, I guess. That's about as local knowledge as you can get, right?
Yeah.
That'll be the fun part.
Go ahead, Sarah.
We really seek your blessing on this and what the next step forward is. So if you guys need to go to the town board about the trawling, if we could look forward to having that done, so we'll be ready for our winter survey.
You wanna make a motion?
I'd like to make a
support?
motion that we support this contingent on the town board.
I would-
Second that.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Well, I
Opposed?
would like some more
Bill, the-
information included before we just, I would support it if we were to receive the specific dates and prior notice before the surveys each time, and that the final report would include those, GIS sites to show where he trawled.
It will.
And if there are going to be traps and crab pots set, I'd like to know specifically where they're going, because we do have mooring permits and/or fish traps
Right.
that are also installed in the pond, so we don't want to have any conflicts with those. And then I would just say with the permits, you're requesting authorization from the trustees, not by the trustees, from this board. And then you would change that you need, the motorized vessel is fine, but we would approach the town board for the temporary use of the trawl or the dredge. So those, just little clarifications and some, little bit more
They're all
specifics, so we
fair,
know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Where pots are going, prior notice and exact sampling dates.
Yeah.
I think it's,
Just so
I
that
think
we don't have a
asking-
conflict with the public.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I gotta be
Yeah.
honest with you, asking somebody to give you exact sampling dates might be a little excessive, only given the fact that, let's face it, if they're gonna try and do a winter study here, you got a crystal ball, can you tell me what the pond's gonna be on a given date? Whether it's gonna be, whether
Oh, she's
A,
asking,
No, I don't
when
have
is
a
it
crystal
going?
ball, but if you wake up
Yeah.
in the morning and say, hey, I'm going today,
Right.
call the office,
Right.
email the office and
Okay.
say, fax,
That-
I'm
Okay,
going
well,
today.
Prior notice.
problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that shouldn't be a problem. I mean,
Earlier this past year, he did a little bit of testing up there. This is the same person, right?
Dr. Peterson?
Yeah. Somebody was up there earlier in the year just taking like one leg or a sample or something.
Yeah,
From
that came
Blue Claws.
past us.
That came past us, and he called to
Okay.
say he was going in
I
there.
wasn't aware of it.
I could
No, I
even
wasn't
see you
aware of it
saying the
either.
week of, because it could be several days, you'd have.
no, no,
Yeah,
Diane,
yeah, like, that's
Diane, I
fine.
misunderstood,
Yeah,
Diane, I
yeah.
misunderstood. I thought
Yeah.
you were looking as part of his prospectus, is to have him tell you at 9 o'clock on
No,
on
no.
But I'll
February
definitely put in prior
12th, I'm
notice.
planning on doing my
Right.
survey.
We want to know
Yeah.
what's going on.
Yeah.
as soon as possible.
Absolutely.
That's all.
Yeah.
That also helps us when people in the area ask us,
Sure,
Yeah,
what's going on
here? We can-
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, also Marine Patrol likes to be notified, so they don't have to be bothered chasing him down to see what they're doing.
Finding out he's doing something.
Okay.
When they
They
get
go
the
bailing
complaint,
out.
yeah.
Show
Yeah,
us
that's
up
true,
with that
that's true.
No,
75 force engine, water skiing.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Very, very helpful.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Then quickly, I just, also in your packet is the new specs on the aquatic weed harvester that we'd like to engage in the coming season. It's a slightly smaller vehicle, boat, whatever you want to call it. And we'll be able to navigate a little easier around the pond. And again, in your packet I gave you last time was the time, but we'd like to do it between May and August again this year.
Does this have the cutter head on it, the same as the last one?
It's a similar cutter head, yes.
Okay, so Bill.
Stay away.
Well, we're going to get a protective guard on it and some other
I've given
safety.
enough blood to Georgia Capone. The
Safety.
batter really sparkled that week, though. I'll tell you.
I think on our papers, second paragraph from the bottom, it mentions petroleum. I think that word is spill as opposed to skill.
Spill, thank you, Pat. It is supposed to be spill. Spell check didn't get that.
All vegetable-based and
Yeah,
biodegradable?
the hydraulic fluid is vegetable-based.
Good. I'm glad you're keeping up on this.
Yeah.
I mean, great reports.
All right.
This one has a shallower water depth? Is that
Yes,
one of the reasons
yeah,
for
it's
moving
smaller
this
and has a shallower draw,
They
so
can
it
go-
can,
They can
direction? A
get
little more
it.
efficient in the
Right.
town areas.
right.
And it will,
Some feedback from the public was that the pond was, from a general perspective, easier to use for recreation.
Right,
For
right.
kayaking, for sailing, and people felt the water appeared to be cleaner.
Right.
yes,
You
it looked
run the
very
risk of
pretty.
falling in and getting a mouthful of some floating, decaying matter.
Right.
So,
Well, again, it was a good year. We can't take full credit because of the harvester. There were environmental conditions that were different. That's why we want to do a second year of data to, again, test how much nitrogen and phosphorus are removed when you remove the macroalgae and see what happens.
And the operators will be the same as last year?
No.
No.
We're looking
Okay.
to hire a senior
Oh.
local
Oh, okay.
mechanically inclined person. And so, again, if, I have been given one recommendation, and if any of you know of someone with marine skills, mechanical skills, who would like to be out on Georgia Pond a lot this summer, do let me know.
All right. And they will be unloading at the same locales they did last year?
Yes.
They were private properties.
They were all private property, and the only other thing we're thinking of this year is if, because it's a smaller vessel, it could get up to the top of Georgia Cove if we get permission from the village to unload at the cul-de-sac there.
Right, okay.
It'll be the same operation as last
Okay.
year, just small.
And then the loads will be taken to the
And
town.
they're gonna do the same documentation and
Yeah.
everything. Yeah.
Then just very quickly, I wanted to just let the board know that Francis joined me and some representatives from the village and the town to meet with Greg Williams, who's an environmental engineer with the Department of Transportation, the New York State Department of Transportation. And we looked at the Route 27 rest stop. I call it the canoe launch, but it's really the rest stop. And we also looked at the Cove pipe. And with the idea being to see what could be done to minimize stormwater runoff into the pond from both the pipe and the rest stop, as well as what could be done to improve public access, particularly from the rest stop area. So we had a wide-ranging and interesting discussion, and he brought a lot of, the historical tax maps of how Route 27 had been relocated, and DOT's definitely indicated a willingness to help us with planning on this site, so we're going to need, a lot of your input on this. It's a long-term project. Nothing happens fast with the DOT, but at least they're interested and willing to help, and we did ascertain that the village owns the pipe at Georgia Cove, and DOT basically authorized the village to start looking into what could be done to minimize that. The first thing is testing exactly what's coming out of the pipe. We've observed sediment is definitely still coming out of that pipe. The village has done a lot to redirect the drainage out of the pipe, but we want to be sure that a minimal amount of nutrients or pathogens and sediment are coming into the pond there.
Is that pipe one of the ones where they had actually installed the filter or the sponge?
Last year, they installed a filter which filtered pathogens. And then this year, they're going to install a new kind of filter that filters both pathogens, nitrogen, and phosphorus. So it should be even better.
Excellent.
Okay.
Did they say there's actually 19 locations of those filters along the?
There are many, it was either that number or close to that number, Francis, many spots. It's a very long pipe. It comes all the way from 114.
Was one of the things that DEC was really
Yeah.
interested at the meeting we had
It's kind
about
of strange.
removing the bottleneck, so.
Right.
You guys passing that along, right?
Yeah, yeah. So that's, again, a long-term project, but I wanted you to be aware of it, and I wanted to thank Francis for joining us. He was very helpful, and that's
Makes you wonder what took them so long to look at this problem. It just seems so, simple from a layman's point of view, that, you should be able to put some kind of a filter at the end. With everybody concerned about water quality, they should, the DOT is a very big agency in New York State. And I just heard the governor talk today about, in his State of the Address, committed to water quality. So I certainly hope that, they be part of the driving force, rather than just let us know what we can do. They have a lot of smart people.
right, and resources. So we're
Sure, yeah.
hopefully going to take advantage of as much of that as we can. Planning, engineering, testing.
Well, it's so good that you, and I have no reason to blow smoke here. I'm so thankful that you guys are a driving force behind this.
Yeah.
But, it's unfortunate, though, when you look at the town or the county at large, there aren't that many organizations like yourselves that, have the resource and the drive and, everything that one would possess to push this thing. So, hopefully, others will see and get it done. Because it's a grassroots
Yeah.
effort for you guys.
Yeah.
And what we're doing here, is really pioneering some approaches that can be used in other ponds. And it's really my sincere hope that,
Right.
we're learning a lot from what you guys are doing here with us to clean up all the other ponds in town and address these problems in all the
This is on
waterways.
subject. Can I bring this up? While you're there.
Yeah.
While we're on the subject, the DEC has just put out, on the 8th of this month, a new paper on their thoughts. And some of their thoughts look a little different, some look similar, and it looks like, it's very interesting read. If you go to the department, DEC, and then put in shoreline stabilization, you'll get it. And it's very, very interesting about what they want on, it looks like the bay side, except every once in a while they talk about a hard structure in among all their soft structures. As I say, it's very interesting, so it's worth digging into this.
Well, that came up
because-
It
during-
was about Nassau County and all that.
I'm sorry, what?
That came up during our meeting with the DEC earlier this month, where they said they're looking for that type of an approach now.
Good, I can understand most of that. It takes several readings because it varies a little bit. But for all of us, I think it's a good thing. And it leaves what they did in Montauk as a real question.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thanks, Sarah.
What's next? Elaine, would you like to speak?
Can you hear me? I usually watch the meetings at home now. The meetings are very good, good jobs. But on October 24th, 2016, I watched a meeting where Mr. James Grimes made an accusation at the meeting. He didn't mention any names, but he said something to you, Francis, about bid processes, some such thing. And the next day I asked Pat Manser what it was all about, and she told me it was the bid process. Now, I believe the trustees have had, you don't put in the star the bid processes up until now, and if you want to change the policy, you can, but that's not been done yet. Actually, Mr. Grimes has used some pretty unnecessary behavior and language at these meetings, and I don't think that's necessary either, and I mean the language. I've heard you say. On January 2016, the new board when the Democrats took over, elected 2 of the highest vote getters as clerks. Francis first, Pat next, and Bill Taylor. I don't know what vote you were, but Francis and Pat were the 2 of the highest vote getters. This morning, I got a call from Pat and told me that she was called this morning and told that she wasn't being given the position as a clerk. I asked her why, and she said, well, I guess this bid process or some such thing is
I said it was quasi.
yeah, quasi, whatever.
Other people wanted it.
Yeah. Well, and also, I was told, excuse me, I called 4 other people and was told that it had to do with the bid process.
Oh, okay.
The fact that you did a bid and whatever, you can explain that. You have a right to explain yourself. I totally believe that everyone who is accused of something, before a decision is made, I would like to know why this board has never had an executive session and discussed it with Pat. And it has to be the whole board. It can't be just a group of people. Why wasn't this information discussed at an executive session? Why was it not done by the whole trustee board? Why, after a year of the 3 most qualified people as clerks, do we need to change? If it's about those trustees who want the money but don't have the experience, I believe that the 3 people in positions now have the experience. Did the trustees change the bid process? Have you changed the bid process since this last year that you've taken over? Does it have to be put in the East Hampton Star? And if it does, then you should do that. But if Pat made a mistake, that's fine, but I still think she has a right to defend herself, and I don't think anybody has the right to make an accusation unless she has the right to defend herself. So I think that it has to be brought public, and I think if this board needs to discuss it in public, it needs to be discussed. But I think
I'll
that you
address
have
it.
a right to discuss.
I
You
will.
have a right to defend yourself.
I will.
As to what, there's a lot of innuendo and gossip out there, and it's not just Pat, believe me. I've talked to a few people today. There's gossip of bid rigging, there's gossip of all different kinds of things, private meetings and all this stuff. And I think that this board needs to come to the, thank you.
Okay, I will attempt to address that. I went out to bid on my own, well, not on my own, we all knew about it, and called, there's a process and procedure, which I have, from the town of East Hampton, and it's how you go out to bid. It's not, there's nothing hard about it, and it's not unusual. We went out to bid, I called 4 people where 3 people were necessary, and got originally 4 bids. And then the dredging window, no, the window closed for dredging. So although we had the lowest bidder, he couldn't dredge because the window had closed. So 4 months later, we called the lowest bidder, and it was in Jim, Mark Edwards, and Kim Shaw and I for most of the meeting. Over at Kim's office, or her meeting room. And we had everything good to go to start again, and I asked Mark Edwards, are you still good with this bid? Because it was 4 months old. And he said yes. Had he said no, we never got to that point. Had he said no, we would have had to rebid, which we did anyway. Jim was very upset about that.
I'd like to take just one moment and add really the.
Mr. Grimes, I think Pat has a right to give her explanation first, and then.
Okay.
I really do. I think
All right.
she deserves the right to these accusations that are going all over
Okay.
this town, okay?
Perfect.
Then you can speak. I'm sorry, I'm not a trustee.
No, you're not. But
I think
but you know
she has
what?
the right to finish.
You're exercising a reasonable thought. Pat, please finish.
My father was a Southerner, and every once in a while to us kids, when we were just tearing up the house, he would say, "Carry on, I hate peace." And it would stop us because we didn't know what he was talking about. But he did that for years, and it worked. But I want peace. I don't want this fighting back and forth. But this is easy. This is easy. I've done bids for years and years and years. And when you ask somebody, are you content with that bid, somebody has got to ask them. Somebody in the course of 4 months has got to say, can you stick with your bid? Because if everybody goes out there and the guy starts working and suddenly says, I have to throw in a change work order. That could be the price of the project all over again. So you have to ask, and it has to be put down in writing. If he's fine with it, you're good to go. If he's not, you rebid it. We rebid it, and then by then, the dredging window had closed again. And now we're at where Bill is going to work on getting a re-up for 2017, and Fresh Pond still is not dredged. Now, Jim?
Okay. This process started with Pat. I believe you put this project out to bid completely on your own. You solicited the bids, you collected the bids. I don't know, I wasn't there for the bid openings. There was a successful bidder, okay? You were prepared to have that contractor start the project without any of the bidders ever receiving a copy of the DEC permit.
No, you're wrong.
Excuse me, no, I'm right, because they got copies of the DEC extension
This was
on the
not,
permit, but
this was
nobody.
not done alone.
Okay, but hang on.
We all knew what
Nobody-
was going
hang
on.
No, we all didn't
And
know
it
what
was done
going on.
in the secretary's,
We all didn't know what was
office.
going on, okay? The first bidders on that job got copies of the DEC extension of the permit. Nobody actually had the permit. And when we awarded the bid, you handled that. When it came time to start the project, you were noticed, I believe it was by Kim Shaw, that, hey, guys, not for nothing, you can't dredge, you're past the time envelope on this, and it was tabled. It was discussed at this meeting, and it was tabled, and we're going to do this thing in the fall. Okay, well, I'm on that committee with you, Pat, for Lazy Point area, so I asked to be present at the next meeting, which you accommodated me on. And we sat down, and, well, as you said, you did ask Mark Edwards if he was comfortable with his numbers, being that several months had passed by. And that isn't an issue. What was an issue was the question you asked Mark subsequent to that, was when you said, Mark, because, you do realize that, and I'm just basically paraphrasing what was said here, you do know that you were the low bid here, and if you need to adjust your numbers, you can. And that's what I took issue with, Pat, and I walked out of that meeting because I couldn't catch you. I spoke to Rick Whalen about it. He had some issues with it. I spoke to Francis about it, and he had some issues. And after that, Pat, we sat down, you, myself, and Francis, and had a heart-to-heart discussion about how this thing would need to be rebid to basically make this fair to everyone, and that we were not going to have meetings anymore with one individual trustee and the contractors. We were not going to have several meetings, and what we were going to do is try and engage, or excuse me, start handling these things in a far more professional manner. And the next time that Francis, and I don't want to speak for him, I think the next time Francis knew anything, I know certainly the next time I knew anything about this was basically 2 weeks after you opened bids again, okay? We didn't do any of the things that we discussed at it. And Pat, I do believe, I don't think this is the position of the deputy clerk. I didn't believe that was a position that was that's selected by how many votes you got. I think it was really a decision made by this board, who is the clerk, who are the deputy clerks. So as far as Mrs. Jones, as far as your position here of whether somebody should or shouldn't be there, I think that's something that's determined by this board, or am I wrong?
It's
true. Right.
Okay, so-
Not on the thing of gossip. Right now, there's a lot of people talking.
I'm not gossiping, and I don't really care what anybody said. I'm just telling, you've heard the
board has
facts.
the right to make that decision, you're
Yes.
absolutely right, but not on the, not being told that she has been accused of some wrongdoing.
All
I
right,
don't know
before-
that, I don't know
And
where.
she has a right to answer you.
Excuse me, I don't know where anybody has gotten accused of bid rigging or anything else.
I'm beginning
okay?
to hear it.
Because it didn't come out of this board.
Did it come from you?
No.
Well, I'm hearing it.
Well, I don't know where you hear it from, but I brought the issues that I had, and at no point did I mention the word bid rigging.
Okay.
I think it was, Pat, quite honestly, I think it was more a case of incompetence.
No,
But I didn't
no,
see
no.
it as bid rigging.
It was not. I do know what I'm doing, and never in 23 years have I done anything even close to
Well,
illegal
actually,
or immoral.
Actually, Pat, when this discussion came up, now that we're
Now,
basically airing our
when you
dirty
go into
laundry-
the future, you're not letting me explain what you've already hit.
Pardon me?
What you've already talked about, you're not letting me respond.
Okay, but we had a discussion about this, Pat, and I thought
We-
you were done. I thought I
We
had the
did not have
floor.
a discussion.
Yeah, we really,
No. No, we had a screaming and yelling at Patsy match.
I wouldn't
And,
describe it as that.
and in that, when I said, I felt like a kid being yelled at, and I thought, just, let's stop the yelling. What did I do? You never finished the sentence. You should have said bid rigging. How
I
the
never
hell
said bid
could you
rigging,
tell
because you know
me-
what? Nobody ever said bid rigging.
How do you change a person's bid after it's down, it's given to the paper, it's in the
I
office?
don't know, when you offer the
and
guy, I gotta tell you,
everybody-
Pat, that was my question. When you offer the guy the opportunity to adjust his
No,
numbers.
you can't do
I felt that
that.
was inappropriate.
You're wrong.
And your answer, Pat, to that question,
a-
when Francis and I had this discussion with you in private,
You never
your answer
said
to that
anything to do
question
with
was,
bid.
when I was a councilman, the bid process was handled for the most part by,
It was,
what's
by
the-
Jeannie
Purchasing.
Carosa.
purchasing, okay? So, it seems like you had one answer one day, and now you've had some time to think about
No,
it. and you're
I'll tell you
coming
what
back with a
happened.
different one.
I never knew what I was being yelled at, and I asked
I
you.
wasn't being, you never got yelled at.
Oh, my God, you were standing up like this.
Trust.
Let's not get into that,
Okay.
Jim. And I am not
I
interested.
know how to yell, and
And
trust me.
tell me,
I
I know.
remember.
And I am not interested in continuing as clerk, just to tell you that. If you have a bid, you have it written in so many places that you can't adjust it. Take a pen and cross out a number and rewrite it? What good does that do? And what would that do to the people above?
That's exactly
And you
my
said
point.
that, and I wondered, what the hell is he talking? Do you know it took me weeks to figure out what you were talking about? And another person said to me, he's accusing you of messing up the bid. I said, no, no. 24 hours it took me to finally figure out, oh my God, that's what he was accusing me of. And I went to Francis and he said, yeah. Bids are sacrosanct. If there's anything that's sacred in government, it's a bid. And I am not so stupid as to, or would I even think it was ethical to try to do that?
Was
So-
this particular bid put in the paper as a public notice?
No, this is,
And you know what?
Thank you.
And this is the other thing, we had discussed this at that subsequent meeting. I wanted some transparency here. The results of that meeting were we were going to notice this bid process. And did that get noticed, Pat?
no.
No, it
There were
did not.
two things that you asked. Wait a minute. There were,
Wait,
Okay.
this isn't your conversation.
I understand.
there were two things that you specifically asked for. And one was that this get noticed in the paper for bid, and the other was that we have a meeting with the bidders.
Actually, there was three things.
What was the third one?
There was notice a bid, that all prospective bidders get the same package, and that
Right.
package should include.
That happened.
The DEC permit,
That all happened.
the extension on that permit, and any supporting documents.
That
as a
all
result.
happened.
And that subsequent to that, you have one site visit, have all your contractors come.
That did not happen,
No, that didn't happen.
because that would have
Okay,
been like
and
herding
then-
cats. Okay.
No, actually, it's not. This is pretty much a standard
I know, I've had an
procedure,
engineer
okay?
explain that to
there's
me,
an
and you're right. If
and
they don't
there's
come,
an
they don't come.
opportunity for questions and comments, and at the point that you answer the questions and comments, all the prospective bidders get a copy of those questions and comments. The bids are submitted. the bids are opened not by one trustee and a secretary.
We were not, no, that's not the way it worked.
Okay, well, how did it work?
We had 3 or 4 people open bids.
I know Lori was
They're all,
there.
they're all in the office, on record.
Lori was there.
Everybody signed.
Okay.
I walked in after they were opened.
And as far as noticing it for the bid, I'd never done that. So I looked through the paper, I found a sample, I cut it out, I took it in, and Francis said, we don't have to do that. So
I don't recall that.
Okay,
Because
well-
we made a deal.
Okay.
We made a deal.
I was a little put off, not a little bit, I was freaking pissed off.
I know that.
Because you know what? I can look at something the first time and say, well, gee, maybe somebody made a mistake. But you know what? When somebody does the same friggin' thing twice, then I gotta say the person's either incredibly incompetent.
No, it's just that the 2
or-
additional things
or-
you threw in
or
didn't.
dishonest, okay? That's the only 2 conclusions I can come to. So I don't wanna make you think that I'm inferring something. I'm not. I'm just looking in your eyes, and I'm telling you exactly the way I feel. And I told you the exact same thing the night you wanted to have the discussion about this just before the Harbor Management Committee.
All right.
And I was very disappointed in your behavior.
That's, you know, Jim,
And subsequently, I was very disappointed in the way you handled it. after.
fine, that's good. I'm glad that you got to air that. We have since asked Rick to write down his version of how we should handle process and procedure, but I have the paper, we all do, from the purchasing department. It goes to every department in town, and they all deal with it, and that's what I went from. I went from that paper and did what that paper said to do, precisely.
Okay,
And that's the end of it.
thank you. New year, perhaps lessons to be learned on everybody's part, and we'll go forward. There'll be other bidding opportunities, and, we'll get it right from every aspect. And I'll be the first to say many times, I need help, and I get it. And one of the nice things about having Diane is she was involved in it for so long that, we could say, hey, should we be telling the paper about this? Absolutely. Check, check.
That's good.
Check.
This is an excellent,
Let me just say,
Yeah.
before we do, the next time we're ready to bid something, before we do that, we're gonna have adopted bid procedures. And
You're
they're gonna
right.
Mimic what the town does,
and you're going to write them.
yes.
Okay.
This is one of many things that we want to just standardize.
This is a
so that we
great,
avoid problems
this
that
is
doesn't feature.
really a good board.
One of our
It's a great
priorities.
board. And the opportunity to do anything sits at this table.
Yes.
And I don't want it stopped by attitudes. I really don't.
Okay.
We're at the crux of our waters and our locals and the words we're supposed to use with each other. And we can meet at executive session, it's personnel. In that case, if I was personnel, I would have loved to have had a meeting in executive session. Let's see what's on your mind. If you're able to talk, you're able to talk together. There's no reason why we can't. And we're here to do the work that needs to be done so that we keep our town. We're like a terrarium. I don't even know if I'm calling it the right thing. Like a sealed thing with a frog in it and a couple of bushes and some water.
Like
And you don't have to feed it.
Biome,
You can't get in
biosphere
it.
or something.
And it lasts because it works. And you keep it a while and it dies. You say, why did my frog die? Why did my leaves die? Why did my trees die? Why is the water funny colored? We on Earth are never going to be given, here's a refill of water. Here's a refill of seeds. Here's a refill of a dune. It's up to us to see that it's not destroyed. And I think we can work together to accomplish that. Because things are dying, and crap is being put in our waters.
Yeah, you're right about that, Pat.
And we can do something about it. And we can work together. Jim, you're a brilliant man, and I want to work with you.
Okay.
And you have a good memory. Better than mine, but sometimes wrong.
Okay.
okay?
Yep. I would just point out that all the damage done to our properties is by people else who are not using our properties right now, upland folks, who got permits from other people.
Keep your eyes open and let's work together on it.
Been doing
And I
it.
missed 2 meetings. I want you to know that I can bring doctor's reports on the wacky illnesses that's been going on. But today, you're going to catch anything I've got.
I just want to address one thing that you just said, and only because it was brought up to me earlier today, about meeting in executive session to talk about personnel. The only personnel that this board has is Lori and an assistant secretary.
Am I not personnel?
We are all elected officials. Everybody sitting at this table is responsible for their own behavior and what they do. It does not go to executive session. You have the luxury of talking to 2 or 3 people at a time in another room, but you cannot have the whole board talking in executive session about the performance of another elected official.
That's a shame.
You are elected by the public. What you do is for the public and in the public eye.
You can't discuss the stuff in executive session.
Yeah, it's reserved for legal matters that are.
Well,
Legal and
could've talked.
confidential staff matters. I mean, if you're doing something with your employees.
if something were on your mind. I remember saying to you,
Oh, no.
Jim,
Very
I remember
limited what you can do
saying,
executive.
I had a tooth pulled today. It was my first tooth pulled. And I'd rather go through that again than go through what I went through with you. And I still didn't know what the hell I was being yelled at for. But I have never done anything.
Yes, that it is.
Okay, are we?
I hope so.
Okay, but no more duck lines.
No.
All right, shall we move on?
Yep.
Okay. Can I have a motion that we move on to the appointment of officers?
I'd make that motion.
I will second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. First position will be for the appointment of the trustee clerk. Are there any nominations?
Well, can I ask a question? Are you going to do these resolutions where you decide, for example, how many clerks you're going to have? Do you have resolutions to do here?
No, we have to do, I thought we already had that. Oh, okay, that resolution was
organizational.
last year, so we have to go there first.
Yeah, I would decide,
Give
give
us
a
a
clerk, and then you can ask for nomination.
That's why you're here, Rick. Thank you.
Just give us a page, Rick.
I think it's the very first page, the first resolution.
What?
Number 1.
Yeah, it should be the first thing, right? Office structure.
The trustee clerk, I would offer the name Francis Bach.
Actually, I think we need to approve
Wait.
the resolution.
Right. Okay,
And then
this
we
is
can-
it.
And then maybe we should go through the resolutions and get to the end of this and then come back to
Okay,
election of officers. I'm just throwing that out,
It's all right.
All right.
okay?
I'm going to offer up the
Because
first.
otherwise,
Back and forth,
otherwise
yeah.
you don't have any leadership going through this process. You know, we should
Right.
validate.
Rick, is it proper that I offer up that first resolution?
Usually what the clerk will do is ask someone to offer resolution and second it.
Okay.
You would be
Did I just
finding-
do that, or am I losing my
No,
mind?
no. This is this resolution. But for the structure of one part-time and 2 part-time deputy clerk.
Seems
But
to
I would
actually.
recommend we just read them out. Read them out for the part of the record. Public can hear
Absolutely,
them.
yeah.
Do you want to read it, Bill?
Which,
First one,
Number 1.
right here,
first one I have is
in the package.
I'll read it if you'd like.
Okay, go ahead.
I have it right here. Whereas the trustees of the freeholders and commonalty of the town of East Hampton, herein referred to as the trustees, intend to make every effort to best serve the people of the town of East Hampton, and therefore the trustees feel that the oversight, care, maintenance, and improvements of the holdings entrusted into our hands on behalf of the people of our community will best be served by the installation of several clerks, and be it resolved that the trustees intend to install 1 part-time clerk and 2 part-time deputy clerks, each with his or her specific responsibilities, along with the general knowledge and oversight of all aspects of the business of the trustees.
I'd like to make that second the motion.
Okay,
Can
all
we
in
have
favor?
discussion?
Sure.
Once you
Okay.
second it.
Okay, I would just say the second paragraph should also begin with the word whereas, and the third paragraph should begin with now therefore be it resolved. So you have two whereases and a, yes, okay. And I would say the trustees will install rather than intend, because this is not last year, this is this year.
I'd agree.
I would agree with those changes, too. That makes more sense.
I agree, and I
Excellent
would
grammar,
have never
Dan.
have thought of that.
I'll never say you don't have good grammar.
Yeah.
Okay?
I did proof a number of the resolutions. I didn't catch that, though.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye?
And I am going to be opposed only because last year, when we started this new procedure, it had been stated that there would be some specifics brought forth to the public to adequately explain the duties, et cetera, that each of the three administrators would be doing, and that was actually never, I think, adequately done. So I'm going to say no at this point.
Okay. And who seconded that? I'm sorry.
And everyone else is up, is
Wait a second, please.
for it?
Diane brings out a very good point. Could we just take a very, very brief amount of time and identify what these positions are, what you're doing for these additional monies in the fairness of the discussion? Because I haven't gotten that info either.
Well, you have gotten the info, because what has happened is the clerk has been doing the office procedures.
I'm okay with the clerk. I'm
No,
trying to get an
okay,
idea of what's going on with the deputies.
Okay, we have a lot of committees here, and what we did was we split the deputy clerks up and assigned committee members to report to a specific clerk for any projects or applications or any other issues, so that we're creating teams. So there's somebody at the clerk's position who can get the information of what's going on, can help out if needed, just trying to spread that burden around a bit.
The clerk doesn't make it to a meeting, the deputy can,
But it's not,
Fill in.
but that's not the deputy clerks themselves. Okay, Georgia Pond, for instance. You guys have been doing the pond. You talked with Bill about it. I think it's been working pretty well. Sarah knows that she can talk to Bill about it. And that's just an example. But that was the intent, was to spread that around. It's no longer a full-time position for the clerk. If you want specifics,
No.
we can print them up for the next meeting.
Wait a minute, I'm not opposed to the positions. I just needed a little clarification, and Diane, rang a bell that, hey, this is a
Absolutely.
good time just to let people know what these positions do. Thank you.
Yeah, I think a little bit more specifics. I would like some more specifics, because I never got that feeling as a committee person this
Okay.
year.
Okay,
Yeah,
Okay.
sure. We'll put it together and we'll talk about it at the next meeting, and
Actually, I think, Diane, the point, if I'm getting it right, is what you're looking for is a written scope of responsibilities, of what the deputy's responsibilities are, what the clerk's responsibilities are, so that it's clear to this entire board. I don't think that's a bad thing.
I agree totally.
Yeah, it should be clear that the deputy clerks have more responsibilities than the regular trustees.
Well, no, having them
It is all in
outlined, actually
writing.
having them outlined.
Need documentation.
Would it be possible to have that by the next time we meet? Or sometime in February?
Yeah, I don't see why
I
not.
have it, but I left it home,
Okay.
but I would have brought it. Laura, you don't have a copy of that, do you? Copy of the clerk and deputy clerk's responsibilities and all the other trustees' responsibilities?
One notable difference is that both deputy clerks and clerk are bonded.
Yes.
that's a later resolution.
Well,
Yeah.
not bonded yet for this year,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
intend to be bonded.
And what exactly does that mean?
Well, they're kind of
Bonded,
insured.
yeah, it would, it assures that our monies are safeguarded in the event we have
And-
theft.
Well, it's
Personal-
insurance.
Insuring their
Insurance, yeah.
personal.
In the event of
Yeah.
malfeasance.
Very good to be
safety and-
bonded.
yeah, yeah.
Means you're a good person.
The
Anybody
reason
can
is
sign a
because
check is more-
all of those people have certain rights to be able to write checks and according to the
Okay.
later resolutions that you have.
Okay, so
Okay? So that's the first resolution. We're good with that?
yeah.
One opposed, right?
One opposed.
Okay. 10:30.
All right.
Should I go ahead and keep reading this for you?
No, we have to do the appointment of the officers still.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna do the,
We had to do that one before we do the officers.
you had made a suggestion to go through all of them.
No, but I think actually what Frank's doing right makes more sense. Let's get the
then we'll have the
officer squared
officers
away, and then we have
continue with-
installed officers to conduct the rest of the meeting.
Okay?
So can I now make the
Attorney.
motion?
We're looking for a nomination for the trustee clerk.
I nominate Francis Bach.
I'd like to second that.
Are there any other
in favor?
nominations? Any other nominations? Okay. 3 times. Any other nominations? Okay.
No.
Motion to close nominations.
Is there a vote?
You have to close the nominations first.
Motion to close the
Say-
nominations.
Motion to close the nominations.
He does in the fire department.
Yes,
I'll second
and
it.
have the secretary cast 1 vote for the clerk. Is that correct? Secretary doesn't vote, so,
We don't do this a lot.
all right,
Yeah, well,
so,
I mean, you should have a vote then. on-
For you, Fran.
Well, you had a second by
Only vote
Jim.
no.
All those in favor?
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Nay? Ayes have it. Congratulations, Francis.
All right,
Well done, Brad.
For condolence.
let's move on to the deputy clerks.
I'd like to make a nomination for Rick Drew as deputy clerk.
I'll
Is there a
second that.
second?
I would second that nomination. I think Rick's done a great job. One of the quieter people at the meetings, but he gets a lot done in quietly toiling away.
Are there any other nominations for deputy clerk? There are 2
I
positions.
nominate our senior trustee, Diane.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
You made the motion for another person. Is that, can you, I don't
Right,
know.
there's two,
There's
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 two
just two
positions.
positions.
I mean, these 2 nominations.
So, we're not done.
Okay, are there any other nominations?
But aren't we
Yes,
just, aren't
I would nominate Bill Taylor.
aren't we making nominations for one of the 2 seats first
No,
and
Wait a
then
minute,
No, we're
Lori-
doing-
Lori is-
both at the same time? Okay, just making sure.
Lori.
Clarifying.
Let's do one of them.
Oh, you do one at a time.
You have to be fire department to understand this.
Is that right, Rick?
Oh, I thought we were just doing a grab.
I thought you were going to do it all together and see how many nominations are on the
Okay,
table.
we could
and
do
then-
that too.
Then you
So,
close the then you know
right
who's
now we
nominated.
have Rick, Drew, Diane McNally, and Bill Taylor.
Was there a second for Bill?
Second on that one.
I'll second Bill Taylor's nomination, absolutely.
Okay.
So
3
we're gonna cast
nominated.
ballots?
Well, 3 nominees.
You
You
only
gotta
have
want to try any others?
Are there any other nominations?
I'm going to respectfully decline the nomination. Thank you.
You- Say that louder.
I am going to respectfully decline the nomination for deputy clerk for 2017. Thank you very much. Anyway,
So now we have 2.
All right,
we have 2.
so Rick Drew first. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed?
Opposed.
I cast 1, what?
No, no,
No?
no, this is what,
There's
I wanted
7
to
votes
do
for,
that.
I
Okay.
believe.
2 opposed. Okay,
You have
Bill
opposition?
Taylor, are there,
All in favor?
I'm like getting
Aye.
really, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed?
Opposed?
Opposed.
2 opposed.
Tim and Diane?
Okay, so the clerk for the pursuant year will be Francis Bach. Deputy Clerks Rick Drew, Bill Taylor.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
We got through that.
Another year.
All right, let's move on with the resolutions. Now, Rick had gone through these and offered up some changes, so there are some here with some red
I mean, I
ink.
have them in red, I don't know whether, but none of my changes show up until at least,
Yeah, and I had
Resolution
some
number
more edited.
Okay, do we want to go around the table with these?
However you like. Sure.
you know, I mean, actually, Francis, you can read them and just
You want-
ask if anyone wants to offer them, and then second, you can do the reading, it's probably easier.
Okay. We'll start with the first one. The following, whereas the office business of the East Hampton Town Trustees is generally conducted by a secretary, and whereas Lori Miller Carr is now secretary and already employed by the town of East Hampton to conduct the office duties of the trustees, and therefore the clerk is hereby authorized to employ Lori Miller Carr as secretary of the East Hampton Town Trustees for the year 2017. Resolved, Lori Miller Carr will continue as secretary of the East Hampton Town Clerks for the year 2017. In addition to her salary as a town employee, she will receive a stipend of $135 per week from the trustee funds.
Second?
May I make amendments? I'm just going to propose at the end of the second paragraph, the word "and" is removed. The beginning of the third paragraph would begin with, "Now therefore be it resolved," and the last paragraph would say, "Be it further resolved." The first sentence, "Lori through the 2017," is redundant, doesn't need to be there. It would just be resolved, in addition to her salary as a town employee, she will receive a stipend of $135 from trustee funds. And then it reads better, reads appropriately, reads correctly.
Did you second that? I'm sorry. You said take out the "and"?
Yeah, at the end of paragraph 2.
Okay.
And then the third paragraph would begin with, "Now therefore be it resolved." And the fourth paragraph would begin with, "Be it further resolved." And then the first sentence, like from your name through the date 2017, is redundant. It doesn't need to be in there again. It would just say, "Be it further resolved in addition to your salary."
Why is it
to the
further
end.
resolved when we haven't resolved?
We resolved in the third paragraph.
I would just say
Now
whereas,
therefore
where
be it
therefore
resolved.
is, and then
This is written as the town of East Hampton writes it, so.
Well, that's why they're all
it doesn't
screwed up, and
necessarily
we're not.
change the meaning or any at all. I mean, either way, it means the same thing. But I do see that therefore should be dependent upon the previous clause, if it's going to say therefore.
Yes.
Like whereas
Rick,
something, then
help us
therefore.
here.
But those two
Well,
things are related, really,
look,
so, yeah.
I think the
whereas-
changes
whereas-
are
Be
good.
logical.
The problem is you're gonna hit this on a lot of your
Yeah.
resolutions.
Practically, practically
Every one
all
of
of them.
Yeah, look, I'm still
Yeah, we can
relatively
save a little
new,
time
this is
by
my
not
second
going into this
organization. I
another
mean, I would have thought you guys had all this stuff kind of,
I thought that,
This is as it was last year. Last year was verbatim from town files.
wasn't
I
it
thought they were
years
taken
before
from
that?
the year before.
Or that, no, they're different from the year
They're
before
different than
that.
the year before?
Yeah.
Oh, they're last-
But yeah, look, the structure normally, whereas, now therefore be it resolved. And
Yes.
be it further resolved, then be it further resolved. That's the general.
Normal structures. So if no one thinks that that particular is going to change the content of any one given resolution, I can forward my thoughts on that to Lori, and it can be fixed.
Yeah,
So
can
they
we just
read
approve them
appropriately.
all to be amended for punctuation?
How about if we go back from the year before and see how it's done?
Basically, the only issue here is that it shouldn't really say therefore. It should just say whereas, whenever
I'm
there's a
trying to
difference.
make sense of it. This is Old English.
Well, whereas,
Like, I think
now
Donovan
therefore
wrote this.
Be it
Be resolved,
resolved,
yes, right.
and then be it further resolved.
If I can make a suggestion, why don't we
Please.
defer to our council and move on if there's any objections.
And I'll
they
talk
could
to
be-
Lori, yes, because
They could be duly noted, and we could,
none of this changes the substance.
Right.
But I agree with Diane that the structure is better the way she is suggesting
Okay.
it be done.
All right.
Okay.
We had a second, correct?
All in
Yeah.
favor?
Who second?
Bill,
Who
Bill seconded.
Bill second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Number 3, whereas the 2017 East Hampton Town Trustees will employ a counsel for the year 2017, and resolved that the Board of Trustees, effective immediately, will enter into agreement to hire the law offices of Richard E. Whalen to serve as counsel for year 2017. Compensation to be addressed on a separate
I'd like to
resolution.
second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
And just structurally, it'll be whereas, we're going to drop the and at the end of that first paragraph. and just say-
Stop, Rick, stop.
Now therefore be it, yeah.
Well, yeah, and now therefore be
Yeah.
resolved. We'll do that wherever necessary.
Am I next?
Exactly.
Am I next?
Put that to bed
Are
for
we doing it around the table or what?
I don't think we were, we can.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
This is number 4.
Yeah.
Whereas the trustees designate certain banks with which to conduct the business of the town trustees, and whereas the financial officer is authorized to consolidate and/or relocate amounts as he/she sees fit, following notification to the trustee board, therefore the clerk, 2 deputy clerks, secretary, and financial officer are authorized to utilize the debit card established for operational expenses for the year 2017. The amount of any single purchase shall not exceed $500.
Second.
Resolved, therefore be it resolved, the trustees have designated the following bank as the official depositories for the funds coming into the hands of the trustees. The Suffolk County National Bank, East Hampton office on Panago Road.
I'll second
Second.
that.
May I just make one recommendation?
Yeah.
The 3rd and 4th paragraph should be flip-flopped. You're saying, Pat, now, I don't need your comments, okay? This is procedure. And if we're all being allowed to speak, but anyway,
Excuse me, I was just swearing under my
I
breath.
know, I heard you. I don't need to hear you swearing under your breath every time I speak.
Because you're wrong.
No, I'm not. The 3rd and 4th paragraph should be flip-flopped because they don't make any
Because-
sense the way it's written.
Well, if we're picking this thing apart, the amount of any single purchase shall not exceed $500. But if there's a purchase greater than $500, I think there's probably got to be something there that has to go to a vote of the board.
Of the board, right.
But
Sorry.
it's not there. So if it could be amended, that would be great. I do agree with Diane that flipping the 2 paragraphs might actually make this read better.
And the proper therefores and be it furthers and
It's not that it doesn't make sense. I think that was a little harsh. I think it just might read better.
So we're
Okay.
I
flipping,
understood it.
it'll read a little better.
what, we're flipping what? The 3rd paragraph?
3rd and 4th paragraphs.
Yeah.
Okay.
I need a cookie.
They're right there, help yourself.
Cookie break.
Okay, number 5. Whereas the clerk is hereby authorized to set a petty cash fund not to exceed $100 for expenditures on the year 2017 for supplies, mailing costs, operational expenses, and whereas in addition, the clerk, 2 deputy clerks, financial officer are authorized to issue checks not to exceed $500 for operational expenses for the year 2017. Be it resolved, the clerk, 2 deputy clerks, and financial officer are so authorized, and any checks over $500 are to be approved by the Board of Trustees.
Second.
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
We'll clean it up.
That one was not bad, that was a good one.
Oh, that's,
Yeah.
Number 6, whereas it is necessary to protect the assets of the trustees for the clerk, 2 deputy clerks, financial officer, and secretary to be bonded, therefore be it resolved, the clerk of the trustees, the 2 deputy clerks, and the financial officer and the secretary will each be bonded for $350,000 for the year 2017.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Can I ask one question?
Sure.
Who's our financial officer?
We don't have one. Well, Francis can appoint one as the new clerk in the committees. He can appoint a
Have we had a
financial.
financial officer?
I thought the clerk,
On in the past, yeah,
Okay.
yep.
Aren't you financial?
I believe
Well, I
We could-
think,
we
I
wanted
been
the
think,
same-
operating in that
yeah.
I
sense.
think it's
Yeah.
been operating that way.
You are the
Yeah.
default financial officer if no one else is selected.
So the clerk is acting as the financial.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, number 7. Whereas from time to time it becomes necessary for monies to be withdrawn from the trustees' accounts, therefore be it resolved, the clerk, 2 deputy clerks, financial officer, or secretary of the town trustees are hereby authorized to execute any withdrawals or checks from the trustees' designated depositories, and said documents shall be signed by any 2 of them.
Second.
All in favor?
Who made the second?
Should it be noted that the board should be notified? I mean, it just says the clerk and deputy clerk.
Wasn't that covered in the resolutions before this one?
I think so,
I think so.
yeah.
Okay.
It was.
Number 8, whereas it is proven for a public agency to designate an official newspaper within the town to receive and publish information to the public from the trustees, therefore be it resolved, the town trustees designate the East Hampton Star to be the official newspaper of record for the year 2017.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Number 9, whereas the 2017 East Hampton Town Trustees will hold public meetings on the 2nd and 4th Mondays of each month, in addition to any unscheduled, duly called meetings, and whereas the start time of these meetings will be 6:30 PM, whereas the town trustees desire to accommodate the public in a comfortable and safe manner in accordance with the open meetings law, therefore be it resolved, the East Hampton Town Trustee meetings will be held in the East Hampton Town Hall Meeting Room on the 2nd and 4th Mondays of each month at 6:30 PM, and the public is cordially invited to attend. And the next meeting of the said trustees will take place on January
23rd?
23rd, yeah.
23rd, at which time we will conclude our organizational meeting, and after that, January,
Then we're into
23rd.
February.
yes, yeah.
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 So I think after that, 2017, the rest of that paragraph can just be eliminated.
Yeah, because we'll conclude the organizational meeting
Yeah.
tonight.
That's-
We don't
that's
conclude
right.
it next meeting.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
That
Do
was-
you have any
I
of
saw
my
your
comments on this?
Yeah, I saw your comments.
Yeah,
You do?
yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
We just get rid of everything from 1 week from now.
I'm sorry?
That's the first, see the one over here? This
Even
is
just
it.
take out 1 week from now. That's kind
Oh,
of
yeah.
pointless, too. That's where we're done.
Yep.
Just end with January 23rd, 2017, period.
My copy of Rick's
Yeah.
correction.
Precise.
Yes, yep.
No
Do you have them?
unnecessary language.
No, thank you.
I'll share, you have Rick's, I'll share yours when they come up. Oh, Rick's amendments, I just gave mine to Francis. Okay,
Actually, Brian,
sorry.
I thought you meant.
Somebody will let us know.
Number 10,
Okay,
Has Rick's-
Did somebody second this?
yeah.
I'm sorry?
Need a second?
Oh, is there a second?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, whereas the salary schedule for the East Hampton trustees and their council for the year 2017 is set in cooperation with the trustees and town board as follows. Resolved, the town will pay the clerk $22,300, deputy clerk $18,199, second deputy clerk $18,199, each of the 6 trustees $7,747. The law offices of Rick E. Whalen will be paid $28,000, and the trustees will pay the law offices of Rick E. Whalen an additional $14,000 for a total compensation to the trustee council will therefore be $42,000 for the year 2017.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm going to be opposed to this one.
Are you opposed to that one, or are you opposed to the next one, Diane?
Number 10,
Number 10?
yeah.
No explanation, just opposed?
Well, yeah, only because, I could just say, basically, again, it's how the monies are distributed amongst the deputy clerks. And it is unfortunate that our 6 trustees are now, this is going to be the 4th year in a row where there's been no additional income, no additional monies to the 7 trustees, and we're falling way behind the compensation that's now given to the planning board and ZBA board. And they're appointed, we're elected,
Okay.
so.
They get-
All right,
that's-
so we want
yeah.
to elect to suck on that thing just a little harder. I don't know, I think if we try to keep the meetings a little shorter, I'm satisfied with the money I'm getting, guys. I'm just going to make that statement.
I think what Diane is saying is keep the overall money the same, but distribute it a little more so that the other trustees get more of the total sum that's being paid out to the board.
Is that what you're saying?
Kinda, yeah.
Kinda?
I'd work that too.
Yes or no?
I'd go, yeah, that works, that would work, too.
Because I don't think the
Yeah.
amount that
Yeah.
is being paid to everybody in a sum is not any different than it was
Not any greater
last
than
year
it was,
or the year before that.
Right,
It was
right.
just redistributed.
I
Yeah.
thought in the
Yeah.
past that
Yeah.
that the trustees got the same increase that the town employees got
They
according
missed
to their
us on
contract.
that.
They missed, yeah, because
But
in
they
the,
just
you
made
have
up
to
for it
watch
last year.
very
Yeah, they did.
carefully when the town does their budget, because the 6 trustees
Good.
will be put down as part-time. Part-time employees do not receive the 2% whatever
No, they're
increase.
elected officials.
Elected, and 3 years in a row, we are elected. Too late, it's in the budget, they're part-time, we can't fix it. Over and over and over again, the same mistake was being made. It's very, very frustrating, so watch that.
I
Yeah.
will sit down with
Len? Okay. I mean, I even told them they could how to go into their contingency budget and do a budget transfer so they could recompensate the trustee board.
there are ways,
They didn't do it.
there are ways.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Number 11.
We're going to change the amount on this? Or?
On 11? We'll read it and then we'll.
No, we're still on 10. I don't,
Oh. Do
we
Did we-
didn't get a final vote
we got a
on it.
No, we did. We
Yeah.
had one opposed.
Okay.
All right, number 11. Before I read this, we started, or should I have the conversation after I read it? I started a conversation
Yeah.
about raising this
Right,
number.
right. Yeah,
I thought that had
Yeah.
been decided.
I'm
So
okay with that.
Well,
I would like to make that, why don't we just amend the resolution?
Okay.
Okay, so,
All right, so we're going to amend the resolution, okay. Whereas part-time office secretarial for the year is needed and has been part of the trustees' operations, therefore be it resolved, I have her name here.
Arlene Tazar.
what is
Say
it?
that louder?
Arlene Tazar.
Arlene Tazar will be part-time secretary for the town trustees at a salary of $18 per hour for a maximum of 30 hours per week, paid from trustee funds.
I'd make a motion to accept that.
Is that someone that,
I'll
You-
second it.
that, who picked out the
Only
name?
other,
We,
Who's we?
that's what I was saying this.
Yeah,
It's just nothing.
Lori and I,
Yeah.
Has to be a word there.
under
Yeah,
the
yeah.
direction of the board,
Were there any other people?
received
Yes, there were a
received
lot.
resumes.
I kind of took Lori's lead on this and inquired about it. Apparently, this woman's pretty, sharp, she's pretty, qualified.
They interviewed many.
This first I'm hearing of it, though.
Well, actually, there was several emails that went back and forth between.
Not to me, there wasn't.
I think we all got them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were all to everybody, I thought.
Yeah,
okay.
With her name on them?
yes,
Or ju-
actually.
Yeah, got a copy of her resume.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
Well, actually,
Never seen
there
this
was a
name.
candidate that email was
Yeah, that was a
in
different
response
candidate,
to.
that's true.
She declined the position. This is a different person.
Oh.
This would be the second candidate.
Oh, this isn't the person that you sent me the
Yeah,
email?
No, she
Oh,
declined.
I don't know.
Oh,
I gotta
okay.
freaking
Okay.
rethink this then. Do you have a picture?
Well, let's just,
We will, we actually believe, we interviewed her today.
yeah, okay.
And
What's her
Laura- Laura
qualifications? I mean, as far as, I mean, or,
Most of her experience is in real estate, to be honest with you. But she works with Excel, does
So she's
spreadsheets.
computer savvy.
She's computer
all
savvy.
that stuff. She'll have to learn our,
Is it okay to
our
discuss
laws.
if someone's resume in a public meeting?
Lori interviewed her, and
Just making sure.
she'll be working
Yeah,
on it.
depends on what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're saying good things like she's capable in Excel, I guess that's all right. Normally, personnel matters actually would be an executive
That's
session.
what I feel like.
We're really talking about,
So if we have more to discuss on,
talking about creating a position or filling it.
We took-
It
well,
sounds
Filling.
like the
Right.
clerk,
Should we table this?
excuse me, it
Ben?
sounds like, no,
No, we don't.
I don't think we
Yeah.
you know, I think we need to fill the need. The clerk, along with Lori, who's going to be working with this gal, and whoever else was privy to the hiring of this part-time individual, I'm fine with that, and I would make a motion that we accept her.
Yeah, it's just, this is the first I'm
Yeah,
hearing
no, I
of it,
understand.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's-
Yeah, yeah,
Now-
I agree with you.
needs the help.
I was in the office
Yeah.
today and I met her. She's very nice. I didn't interview her myself.
You apparently hadn't met her previously.
I had been here before too, yeah.
Yeah.
She's a, yeah.
I think it's great.
She's
You
a
know,
local-
Lori needs the
local woman
help.
who's,
You know?
Can I just add that we do need the word help after the part-time office secretarial help for the year is
yeah,
needed?
or something,
Yeah.
some noun there.
And then I also had thrown a question out there earlier. 30 hours versus 20 hours. I think 20 hours is considered part-time in the town?
25. We were
25.
told,
Yeah.
we were told that from Carolina Schaefer, our accountant, that she could work up to 30. But
Okay.
25 is, that's what we told her, 25, so.
Okay.
That enough
But
to
this
help
is-
you?
So this will be
But this
25.
says a
25.
maximum of 30.
Is-
Okay.
Or
We're gonna,
or do you need
if
more
we
than that?
need
No.
extra time, we can get the additional 5 hours. That's what
Okay,
we're asking
okay.
for.
But
the
in general, she'll be
resolution. In general,
25.
she'll be 25.
Okay,
Okay.
okay. I'm okay with that.
So there is a motion on the
All
floor.
right, and a motion to raise it to what, Francis?
15 to 18.
Wait,
Yeah.
we are approving this annual resolution.
Right.
Yes.
To increase,
No, it was put
Yeah.
forth at 18.
Yes.
We're amending.
$15 to $18.
yes,
We're amending it.
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so there's a second?
Brian seconded.
Okay.
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You know, we just hired a guy at St. Michael's to help us with the snow and a new super. So my boss said today, "How do you make out?" I said he quit. And I was only kidding, you know, with the snow being so much. The poor guy was out there for 12 hours. Anyway, I thought it was pretty funny.
Got it, huh?
Excuse me. All right, number 12. Whereas conduct of town trustee business requires proper and efficient operation of the trustee offices, therefore be it resolved, the clerk and 2 deputy clerks are authorized to take necessary actions to ensure proper and efficient operations of the trustee's office.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Who seconded that one?
Bill did.
And that's with that's Rick's revision, right? That you read?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good, 'cause
Yeah.
I liked it. It made a lot of sense.
Yep.
'Cause time to time makes no sense.
13, whereas any person other than a trustee, the attorney, or trustee secretary who wants to review trustee files or documents must do so in the presence of a trustee, trustee attorney, or trustee secretary, or other authorized agent of the Board of Trustees. Therefore, be it resolved, review of trustee files or documents shall be done pursuant to and in accordance with the New York Freedom of Information Law.
Second.
May I add that we, in the past, the resolution had read, and any other guidelines or rules or regulations that the trustees might want in their office. For example, in our office, we have had in the past instances where there have been accusations of things being missing from files. And it was because someone, although Lori might be in the office, or I might be in the office, or Rick might be there, if they're in a separate room and they're not actually sitting with this person, that, something could be taken and you would never know. Also, we had an issue when we had folks coming in to look at the files at the beginning of the NAPED litigation. And we were concerned with, if you have a cell phone, you could take you don't want to pay for a copy, but you could take a photo of it. Just with technology being what it is, we were a little concerned. So I'm wondering whether certain other guidelines this board might want to have in place to be secure with their records when someone is in the office to review them.
You have any
Well, a couple of
examples?
Yeah.
Like, first
Yeah.
comment here. First thing I want to say is, before I even get to, on Diane's comments, the old whereas and resolved issue again. You say whereas we want everyone observing, looking at trustee files, to be doing so in the presence of one of the named people, but we don't actually have that in the resolved. So we should add that. Otherwise, we just wind up just resolving that access will be in accordance with FOIL, Freedom of Information Law. So we probably should kind of restate that in a resolved.
Okay.
I mean, I would have redone the whole resolution a little differently, but I just didn't have the time for it. We will be saying then that anyone wanting to review files must do so in the presence of one of these people. Now, presence is, that's an on-site, I mean, you can be looking over nothing says you can't have someone there looking over their shoulder, and maybe that's what you need to do, but I think it's impractical to require that in the resolution. I mean, you just got to use common sense.
But can we just say in our resolution that if the trustees desire further regulations, it would be posted in their office? So when the person comes in, they would say, okay, so I filled out the little form, but now I see,
As long as it's
I
not
can't take a big
inconsistent-
duffel bag in there, or,
As long as it's not, I would say, other regulations not inconsistent with the New York Freedom of Information Law.
Right,
That would be fine.
okay.
If somebody goes
Yeah.
to the county and they're doing old deed searches, are they allowed to take photos with their phone of the packet that they're looking at,
Well, the county,
searching for a title?
most county records are now microfilm, so you
Right.
can only watch you doing them microfilm. I mean, some of the very old deed books, I've been there for a long time, looking at the old deed books, they used to have paper books, they probably still do, but the much more modern stuff is old. You're looking at it on a microfilm screen.
So my question is,
If someone wants to take a shot in the modern world, they want to take a shot of a couple, you can't stop that. I just know what stop.
in the trustee's office, looking at somebody's folder.
It's public files, right? I mean, we're a
Okay.
It's a
public,
it's a public
we're a
record.
public
The
body,
question is
it's
whether they're
public info.
avoiding paying
Okay.
25 cents for that page. That's really.
No, I'm not looking at it from that perspective. I just wanted to know if there was a privacy issue here.
Not public documents.
Okay, that's fine.
Public document is a public file.
My thought was
provide
more
to pay for it.
towards the safety of those documents, not to prevent access to them, but just that they do remain
Okay.
In the office.
in the office.
Yeah, and that's a legitimate concern, because our files, the trustee files, are paper. They're not
Right.
recorded, so,
Right.
yeah, people
When you
can.
go back to look for it.
Anybody take
Yeah.
anything out.
So it
Okay,
doesn't need to be written, but it should be spoken that, yeah, we should all keep a
That's
close
how-
eye on anybody looking at our files to make sure they don't disappear.
okay.
But I think you're right, writing it doesn't, there's no
So
way to
what
really.
exactly are we going to add to it?
Really, the first whereas should probably be much simpler and say, whereas the trustees are concerned to allow for proper public access to their files while safeguarding those files from damage, destruction,
Or like, whereas trustee
How
files are
about
available to the
this?
public, but
Rick,
must be protected.
Can you make that amendment and then email it to me?
Well, we probably should go over at least the foundation of it here, even if we're not word for word. I would say, whereas the trustees wish to ensure public accessibility, of their documents, files and documents, while safeguarding the same from, loss,
That's fine.
Lost, theft, or
destruction.
otherwise damage, yeah.
yeah, damage, loss, or destruction. Semicolon, now therefore, and that first whereas that we see here should be resolved, and then a second, be it further resolved.
Okay.
So the first be it resolved is, anyone wanting to look at these files shall do so in the presence of one of these enumerated officers. The second resolved would be, that they should be, review will be pursuant to FOIL.
Okay.
Is that okay,
Yep.
Yeah.
have that? Okay.
No, I don't have this one.
The first,
I understand what you're saying, but I can't write that fast.
okay, well, just the first, whereas the trustees are concerned to allow public accessibility of their documents while safeguarding the same from loss or damage or destruction. I can probably remember that tomorrow. You email me and I'll email you back. I don't think I'll change much.
We didn't have this problem last year.
We're all new. All right, number 14.
Did you vote on that?
No.
Yeah, we have to vote
Oh, I
on that
thought
as
we
it's
did.
amended now.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second it
All in favor?
Aye.
As amended, right?
as amended.
As amended. 14. Resolved, the clerk shall have authorization to call a special meeting of the Board of Trustees at any time upon 24 hours notice to the members. Notice will be posted on the bulletin board at the town clerk's office and on the town trustees' website at least 24 hours prior to the meeting, indicating the date, time, and location of the special meeting. And be it further resolved that notice will also be given to the East Hampton Star newspaper of record within the same period herein specified.
Second.
Well, the
com-
problem with that is it presumes that you're going to do this within the framework of STAR's deadlines.
Well, no, not necessarily, no. Let me make a couple comments, because I did make changes, and I just want to know you understand this. FOIL, the Freedom of Information Law and the Public
Oh,
Office.
okay, I get it.
Well, they require, I can't remember the exact language, but it requires, due public notice. It doesn't specifically have a minimum time. I put the 24 hours in there. You don't have to go with that. It's just like, reasonably speaking, you don't want to say we're having a public meeting in 3 hours. Or, at 11 o'clock at night, email around and we're saying we have a public meeting tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. It just doesn't seem right. So I put the 24-hour thing in. If you don't want to be stuck with that, if you want to say a day or you want to fudge it some other way, you're free to do that. The Freedom of Information Law doesn't, Open Meetings Law, sorry. The Open Meetings Law is not that specific. As to newspaper notice, the Open Meetings Law understands that there could be an emergency situation. So this isn't really tied to the newspaper deadline. It's really so that the newspaper or whoever the public, media of record is, has the opportunity to send someone to observe the
Yeah, I
meeting,
didn't
that's all.
understand that. I get it.
Yeah. No, I like it as recommended it.
Okay. I'd like to second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that was 14, this is 15.
I think you're on 14 now, aren't you?
No,
No, we did 14.
Are they renumbered? I have that one as number,
That was 14,
It says
17.
14 of 17 on the bottom.
huh? Mine were labeled at the top. At least this batch, they're numbered at the top. What do you have as number 15 then?
It's good at something else.
Authorized to appoint and set up committees.
Yeah, I'm just on mine this time.
All right, 15, resolved, the clerk is authorized to appoint and set up committees for the operations of the trustees as she feels are necessary.
Second.
I think that's such a waste of a resolution. I mean, it's a given that, you would do that. I mean, I don't understand why we even have it.
Well, what if you had a trustee, like if Francis had said, Diane, I want you to do this with the records?
You can't make you.
You can't make me, but I'm a trustee, I should, respectfully, abide by his wishes, or I might say, I want to be on pump out. He'd say, no, I don't want you there, I want you somewhere else. It's like, it's just a way to say, let's give the clerk some respect and,
Okay.
or if something comes up, we have our standard committees, or what in the middle of the year, if something came up, like, the library committee, we need that. He could set up a new committee,
Okay.
yeah.
I thought it was,
I thought you could do that anyway.
I kind of thought it was, but that's fine, I agree with Diane. I
It's
thought it
not
was a little
legally
redundant
necessary,
too.
right? But it's
Brian,
Yeah.
sort of implied, but
not
it doesn't hurt to make it express.
onerous in any way
Right.
harmful, yeah.
Yep,
What's implied can be made express, so.
Okay.
right.
All right.
All in
Pat
favor?
seconded.
Okay.
All in favor?
No, not me.
One opposed.
One opposed.
Okay,
One opposed?
Yep.
okay.
Silly.
Okay, number 16. Resolved, the Aquaculture Committee is authorized to make purchases from any supplier and/or hire subcontractors in an amount no greater than $500 per occurrence, which shall first be approved by the clerk in the year 2017.
Second.
Now, should there not be something that says whereas,
I knew
to
I shouldn't have
explain
seconded.
why this is the case, That's the point. We usually have a whereas say, because this is essential, then we're going to do this. That's the point of whereas resolved, saying, because this is the case, whereas this is the case, we're going to resolve this. So, I don't know, I just think it would be appropriate to have some kind of language that says why the Agriculture Committee is authorized to make purchases, which is essentially because, I guess you have to make quick decisions about aquaculture. I mean, you can't just
Does it,
It used to be utilized,
ongoing operation, yeah.
it still has to be
yeah.
two members of the clerk, deputy clerk, or secretary, right? Not the
right.
sign.
In the past, the Aquaculture Committee might, hire some baymen to go, like the trustees bought clams, and they hired them to go help them seed them. Another
Transplanted
year,
oysters.
transplanted oysters.
Yeah, that's great. That's something we want to do.
Yeah, so that's the type of thing the Aquaculture Committee has done in the past. So if you want to somehow put that type of language into the first
I was just under the
whereas
impression that you-
paragraph.
But that could be
you know,
set
but-
for any committee, really.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, but and no other committee really, on a consistent basis, required the use of any funding to
Right.
hire outside people. Or, your Agriculture Committee also might be, purchasing new racks to fix the kayak racks at Love's Point, or to get the material to make the boat dinghy dock that we had at
Right.
3 Mile Harbor. We just never really had another committee that required that, but
Are they also involved in the pump out? Or is that a separate?
that's separate.
Okay.
That's separate,
So
yeah.
what was his point?
Yeah.
That you need,
So there's no whereas. You should
Doesn't
describe
explain
why you're
why.
resolving something. You shouldn't just resolve
Yeah.
something for no reason. You should say,
Oh.
this is why we're
Let me ask
resolving
you-
this.
for the furtherance
you
of
more-
their activities.
Yeah,
Is that what-
yeah, whatever that is, however you might say it, whatever.
Rick?
Well, what, beg me for asking, but what exactly is the Aquaculture Committee? Is it a subcommittee of the board?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a committee
yes,
within the
yeah,
board. that-
Yeah.
So you are allowing a minority of the board to authorize purchases, is that a little bit unusual?
Yeah, the thing I noticed here is that you have to be approved by the clerk to do it. That kind of is more strict than the other allowances of, $500 or less, in that two of the deputy clerks can also allow it. So
Well, no,
I
I
would
was
move
presuming
to
that the checks still have to be countersigned by two people
Yes.
under the earlier resolution. But
Yeah.
the issue here is, you can be paying money here, and I don't know whether it makes it, non-functional to do it this way, but you're allowing a minority of the board to authorize the expenditure of money.
Still must be approved by the clerk.
The intention on this thing is to not so encumber the Aquaculture Committee.
Right.
That they can't make sort of an on-the-fly decision to make a minimal purchase and not have to wait for a meeting of
Right.
the
Well,
board.
that's why I'm asking.
And
You
that's-
could theoretically have
that's-
500, several.
And now that Diane has
Yeah.
brought us up to speed, I'm okay with it. I guess.
Yeah,
I mean, you could say per month,
That should be
and
at
that
the
way it-
discretion of the clerk.
Yeah, and I'm on this committee, so I don't want to hinder it, of course.
Right.
I'm just trying to clarify legally so that we have a whereas in here, because there should be one.
I don't know, I didn't really think it needed a whereas.
Yeah, it's not really essential, it's just a nice note to bring up. I'm just trying to be,
Now, are we limiting
Dig into this
any
stuff.
purchase for any project to $500?
It just says per occurrence.
Per
No,
occurrence,
no,
right.
anything
can,
greater than
Right, would be, go to the board.
has to go to the board.
Right.
Okay.
Depends on
Well,
whether
it
it's
doesn't
another
say that,
occurrence or not.
but,
And we also have an account with RBS. Just when I was fixing the boat, that time, those,
Yeah.
kayak racks.
racks.
I went down there and, so maybe that's somewhere, I don't know, but that's helpful.
are we amending this?
we don't really have to, I suppose.
Now that we know.
I was more curious if there's a legal reason for the whereas, like you legally have to describe
No,
why you're
there's no
resolving
legal
something?
reason. The reason why you sometimes do whereas, it depends on the simplicity of the resolution. You want to explain for your record and for your.
Right, if your intent was
why you did
questioned,
something.
yeah.
Some
You have a
resolutions may
resolution
be
saying
so
this is why.
self-explanatory that you don't worry about it. I tend to like whereases, but it's a one-paragraph resolution, so I'm not going to quibble.
Do we want to make the deputy clerks be able to approve these purchases? I mean, now, as it stands, it's only the clerk can approve.
It's almost never that you can't get a hold of,
That's true.
but I'm okay with the others.
Putting it out there.
But I think the
Yeah.
word clerk, as it relates to this, also entails the deputy clerk.
Well, I don't know
as well.
about that.
Huh?
It says clerk. in this
Oh,
case.
okay,
I mean,
clerk and deputy clerks.
I
How do
don't,
you guys feel? Do you want to have,
No.
Wait a minute,
No,
say it
I
again,
don't
Rich?
think it's
No.
meaning the deputy clerks,
no.
you don't want to, yeah.
The other resolutions are worded specifically
right?
as well.
It's the clerk.
We don't know what their responsibilities are yet, so we don't want to give them more.
All right, I don't feel like thinking of a whereas right now, so I'm fine with it.
So we're
Okay.
leaving it the way it is.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yes.
Okay, was there a second?
There's a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolved, the clerk is hereby authorized to arrange for the opening and closing of Georgica Pond upon approval of the Ponds Committee and upon notice of the Board of Trustees. All right.
Seconded.
So
No,
this doesn't have to go to the entire board then, as this is
that's
written.
what the way it's written. That's why I'm
Right.
saying no.
Historically,
As
how's
it
been
is
done?
right now.
How's it been written historically?
You approved Mike,
This is how it was written historically, yeah,
on your own.
yeah.
So,
The thing that's different is, I think, just with the new, technology, the emails, phone calls, the way it's been working out. Like I can say, the last time, before the storm, when you had sent the email saying, can we open the pond? That had been a group email. And I know I responded, and I saw Tim's response. I saw nobody else's response.
Okay.
I did.
But you went
I was
ahead.
on there.
Right, but I didn't see it, so it's whether, right,
Right,
so it
because
just depends.
people aren't hitting reply all.
Right, so
I
that's.
never hit reply all.
Right.
I didn't even know you could do
So I
that.
have no idea what the rest of the
But
board
if the
thought
next
about
person
it.
hits reply all, then your reply
Yeah.
gets
Yeah,
pulled in,
Well, the
So,
last
yeah.
request never happened,
because
so.
it's on.
right,
I didn't do reply all. I know I
Yeah.
just did.
No, if the next guy does it.
yeah,
Did you get it?
I got you, yeah,
Okay.
right,
but
so,
they didn't.
yeah,
But I did
Yeah.
get Diane's, because you
Yeah.
must have put reply all.
all, right.
Okay.
And this
Learned
is,
something new.
this was basically for the traditional fall and spring opening.
Oh, I
That's
don't
what-
know.
That's what, this is the historical intent of this one. Yeah,
We don't know what the
Right.
intent is unless it's written.
No, and it is written.
Okay.
I mean, you
but-
you created
but
this resolution when you were clerk.
Actually,
right.
Diane, you
Well,
brought up
before
a
that,
good
it was
point,
there.
because
Yeah,
For the
we are
opening and
deviating
closing.
slightly
Yeah,
from
this
the
could be a blanket.
historical letting
Oh.
of
Right.
the
I know
pond
what you're
right,
as
Yeah,
per,
to me implies spring
you know,
and fall.
the,
Right.
the data
Yeah,
that's
now
been
it's
collected by Dr. Gobler. And do you
That's the
disagree with
point to be
the
made.
more frequent letting?
It doesn't actually say that anywhere. though.
not necessarily with the more frequently, how we're going about getting, whether we're gonna get DEC permits to do it, that
We're
I
not.
question,
No,
but.
no, no, the
But
intention
if it's
right
just
now is
us
not to
opening
do
the
that.
pond, I have no problem with more frequent openings,
Okay.
We
But I want it,
are-
you know,
We
yeah.
intend to stick to the historic
historical. Okay.
openings without
Yeah.
approaching the DEC.
Okay.
Now,
so-
there are projects in the works that will go for that permit.
Right. But like, let's say, I know later in our agenda, we're going to discuss a pond opening. which has nothing to do with either the historical openings or that permit. This is something this board is going to discuss for the benefit of that pond.
Right.
That would be covered under this resolution. That's my impression. That's my
That's my
historical impression.
impression, too.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll second it.
My only problem with this is that I don't believe we have a ponds committee anymore.
We do, well,
We just
We're
have a
gonna get to
committee
that.
for each pond.
there's only one pond that's lit.
Okay, I see what you mean.
But Georgia and other ponds, I believe, is the committee.
Yeah.
Okay, that's just, it's a new
Yeah.
name.
Yeah.
Well, if it's called Georgia and Other Ponds, it legally, it says here Ponds Committee, which is not the actual technical name of the committee.
Well, it is, no,
This
it
is the
is
fun stuff, guys. This is
technically-
the really fun stuff.
I had like a little brain fart. I'm sorry, I spaced out for a moment. Will the trustees that are not on the committee get a heads up and weigh in to whether or not it should be opened?
Yes.
Or, because this kind of alludes to the
I-
committee, right?
I can tell you that I will always ask the entire board.
Okay.
Right, right.
But the
think
way
that's-
this is,
I think
you
that's
know,
appropriate, yeah.
Yeah.
written, it doesn't,
That's why I brought it up.
Yeah.
and the email I got just last week, you know, about, you know, the duck hunters wanted it open and stuff like that. I don't want to open it up for any user groups just because.
I don't think that was, I don't.
It's a later
really,
discussion,
that's
anyway.
not
Yeah,
the
we're
way
talking
I
about that
understood
later.
that
We're
email.
going back to that later on.
So the only thing that I would,
This is just a matter of the process of doing this.
yeah,
now.
if I was to make a change or make a recommendation, it would be where it says, you know, upon approval by the ponds committee and the board of trustees. Not that we would be on notice.
So you want two approvals?
Yeah,
You want- you want-
or word it in such a way that,
Recommendation by the ponds committee and approval.
That's what it says here, Brian. It says that,
It says
doesn't it?
upon notice.
Notice to, so,
notice jumped out, you know. that-
meaning that Francis and the Ponds Committee could just make the decision and then just
And
tell
then
us, hey, we're
say-
doing this, and we don't have any say in it, but we could
Okay.
change it so that we all have an equal say in the matter, which
Recommended
might be
by
nice. I-
and
Well,
By the
remember
way,
again,
Tom's
getting
remember
at-
again,
You have the
this was
resolution.
drafted when the pond was only open twice a year.
Right.
And the board already knew that was going to be an occurrence. So they had already pre-approved
Yeah.
that, so they were like giving that authority to the clerk and the ponds committee.
This is
We
just a-
understand, it's coming up to April, this is gonna happen,
That's the way it's
you
been
know?
for years.
Yeah,
But it's changed now. It's
It's a
being
little-
opened more frequently, and we all need to weigh in on it.
yeah.
I think we do, yeah.
So I would ask that
Yeah.
we not be,
Yeah, amend it.
Right.
be put
Right.
on notice, but that the entire board have a
An
vote.
approval.
Well, let me just
I would
say
like,
this. That begs the question of why have the resolution at all? If you're going to have,
That's
decide
the
as a
point, yeah.
board when you want to open Georgia Pond, I mean, remember, you can decide to do it and delegate the specific opening day or time to the clerk in conjunction with the contractor. But if the intention is that whenever you want to open Georgia Pond, the whole board will agree on that, then this resolution is completely unnecessary.
Now you tell us.
Right.
Yeah, but
Now, the thing is, the
You're
reason.
explaining why you had the
Right, the
resolution.
reason we had the resolution, and like I said, it was a given, that the board was giving the authority to the clerk and the ponds committee to open it historically like they'd always done. The reason we did this is because we don't want the specific date and time of that historical opening known by the public. That opening is an attractive nuisance. We have had cars in there, dogs, people. It is an attractive nuisance. It is the type of thing where you just want to get in there, get out of there as quickly as you can, and if the public is aware of it, they're down there, you know. It's a beautiful sight to see. It's an amazing thing.
that's why I thought
But-
having
But-
this
but-
where
but-
these things
Yeah.
don't have to happen at a public meeting, like Francis sent that notice out
Right.
last week and polled the board on their opinions, hoping to get a consensus to move ahead and let it, because the pond is very high right now.
Yes, so what I was going to say was then, can we legally make it so that we can do it by a proxy vote, by email? That's fine, right? So we could pass a resolution saying, resolved, the clerk is hereby authorized to arrange for the opening of the pond, given that, the approval by a majority
My
of the
feeling
board.
is if you decide you're going to
Approval by the
open the pond
majority
in
of the board.
April- My feeling was that if you decide to open the pond in April, you don't have to set the date and time and whenever you authorize that. You can leave that by your resolution at the time.
Okay, that's another way to approach
To
it.
the trustee, to the clerk.
Yeah, but what's happening, we're not talking about April. We're talking about letting the pond
Other
and these.
openings.
Before the next
Right.
meeting, for
These-
example.
Right.
These, yes.
Which it is going to be, require some discussion because the specific wording of the reasons for that opening could be quite important, you know, to some of us versus others, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think the historical aspect needs to stay in place of what we've been doing year after year. It shows that, you know, we're proactive and, but the only thing, again, I ask is that each of the trustees be contacted
And we
to
have
weigh
to,
in on
yeah.
it. And this has been done, so if we could just take away the notice and make it approval, that would be fine.
Well, then the resolution will say the clerk is authorized to arrange for the opening of Georgia upon approval of the Board of Trustees.
That's
I
fine.
mean, that's really what it's going to say, which is.
But would we have to approve it at a public meeting, or could we
I'm
approve it
not-
by proxy
I didn't
vote?
see, I'm not, that's what I'm not
Right.
saying.
Yeah, it's very, very tricky between what is going to be discussed at a public meeting to be, so the public is aware of what we're doing, and what can be done via emails or subcommittees, et cetera, that is not, the public is not aware of it. And, you know, it's a fine line.
It was a fine line, because
Yeah.
there might be a public
Right.
desire to know when you're going
Right.
to open the
Yeah, we need
pond.
transparency,
Yeah.
but we also don't want to give the exact time it's going to be opened at.
But we don't ask the public for their
achievable.
permission to open it either.
No, but the public generally knows that you are authorizing it to be open.
Okay.
Right.
And the
All right.
question is, can you do that? Should you do that? Not at a regularly scheduled meeting.
Right, right.
And again, I think you could have an authorization at a regularly scheduled meeting
Yeah.
that is not specific to the time and date.
They can't always do it at a meeting anyway. Sometimes it has to be decided before.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's my concern. If we need to open it quickly, we wouldn't want to wait for the next meeting to have to decide.
I mean, quickly might
And
be
sometimes
2 or
that'll
3
happen, because
days.
something will come up even since the previous meeting that
Yeah.
you weren't anticipating. Did that happen?
It could.
The on-
I mean,
that-
it
Something
wouldn't be
like that
common,
would be
but-
like the emergency in front of the storm, you know, whereas I did not agree that it should be done. Others did. So that's a discussion, an opinion that's being expressed outside of a public meeting.
Yeah.
And something's being carried out, and I think that's just going to lead to some disgruntled trustees and/or public, because nobody's going to know what's going on.
Yeah, we're weighing transparency against our ability to quickly
Yeah.
open the pond. in
Right,
event of
so I
emergency.
think the
So it's a
historical
tough balance.
openings, if we want to stick to that in this, you know, and then as we go forward this year, and we are developing, you know, a new policy for the health of that pond, and we will be discussing
You
additional
could have
openings.
like an emergency policy.
Right, that would be something that's discussed. And, you know, and again, and at that point, it could be, you know, yeah, I think, you know, we opened it in January to dredge it for all those years. I think maybe we should open it this January. Okay, let's do that. We don't have to tell the public exactly when you're going up there, but they know it's going to be open to January. That's in addition to the, you know, October.
So are you proposing that if there is a so-called emergency opening, that we call an emergency meeting?
Yes, yes,
You mean like physical meeting?
Yes.
Everybody get together?
yes, yes,
Why is that necessary?
yes, because it's a public
possible.
discussion.
Public
Because-
transparency.
Transparency, it's a change of, it's a change of our state policy, and it's a board decision, and it needs to be done publicly.
Just don't do it on
Yeah.
Fridays.
But that holds it up. I mean, if
Well,
that
Oh,
were-
no,
and-
24 hours.
You got 24 hours, right.
24-hour resolution.
And that doesn't, and, you know, your clerk could be saying, I'm 95% sure that a majority of this board is going to okay this opening in this emergency. You know, you could be moving forward with talking to the contractor that we always hire.
You know what?
You know.
You meet, you're also discussing what's going on, why
Yeah,
we're being told that it needs to be opened. I mean,
Right.
I always ask those questions.
I have no issue with any of
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
Yeah.
personally.
yeah,
All right.
yeah.
So
So,
you want to table this and rewrite it, and we can do it at the next meeting?
No, I think if you leave it the way it is,
and
you know,
just insert the word historical, historical, or biannual, is that the right word? Twice a year? The historical biannual
Let's just go with
openings of the
historical.
pond?
For
Just as-
historical openings.
Is everybody gonna, is people 300 years from now gonna know that's twice a year?
Right. I'd do biennial
Twice
myself.
annual.
but-
Back in
Yeah.
the files, they will.
Twice annual, right,
The two annual historical openings.
yeah,
10 people left out here.
right.
What are we
Also-
going to put?
And that would be,
Biannual,
See, right?
historical,
Twice a year is, I think, is the best wording, because that doesn't.
I like the way it reads now, opening and closing of Georgica Pond.
Where you could put spring/fall.
But we want it to be that the clerk can do the two historical openings
Yeah.
all he wants, but any other thing has to be approved by the board.
Absolutely,
That's
that's
all we're trying to
it.
get out here.
That's,
Okay.
that's it.
there you go,
Okay.
That's it.
yeah.
So,
all right, so how is it going to read exactly?
The clerk is hereby authorized to arrange for the two historical openings per year of Georgica, and closings of Georgica Pond. And we don't even need to say the other part, because it's already implied. I mean, if there's an emergency thing, we call an emergency meeting and we vote on it. It doesn't need to be in the resolution, right?
No,
yeah,
I like biennial.
Okay, is that the right, I was,
Okay.
biannual, biennial?
It's
Actually,
it's,
biennial is
more
not-
elegant.
Isn't that, no, isn't that every,
No, no,
that's
no,
every 2
biennial-
years. Biennial means every 2 years.
Biennial means every other year.
That's right, biennial.
So, yeah, yeah.
Biannual,
Yes, yeah,
Biannual.
exactly.
Sarah,
not biennial.
Sarah, are you
Yeah.
taking notes?
So biannual is preferred.
Yeah,
Would be the right word to describe
Yeah.
that, yes.
Semi-annual.
Thank you.
Really?
oh, right, Mary's here.
Got that?
Our printer.
Okay, so we're just going to add semi-annual and then.
No, but semi-annual doesn't imply 2. It could be any, it could be,
Yeah, and I like that.
The historical opening and closing of the Georgica Pond. I love that.
Yeah, just historical. Let's
Yeah.
leave a mystery in there.
Historical opening,
Not hysterical.
Historical openings.
historical
Yep.
opening,
And closing.
and that's it.
And closing of Georgica Pond.
Yes, and
Period.
that's-
Upon approval of the Board of Trustees.
No, that's,
Ponds Committee,
no, the historical ones are authorized, the clerk's authorized to just do them. And
Right.
the other ones need to go to a vote.
yep.
right.
So you stop it at pond.
Just stop at openings, yeah.
Or the
I really
opening
think
and
it could be- I really
closing
think
of Georgica Pond.
Yeah, no, I think he needs the, upon approval of the Ponds Committee.
Here, so that,
Right, this is
that
the
Because you
pond.
want, yeah,
the beach.
you don't, you know, you want,
and that's what
you don't
it
want
looks
your
like.
clerk with his neck is the only one out there.
No,
You know, the
I
board
agree.
knows we have to open it twice a year.
Right.
You know, he's talking to, he gets the info from the public, he talks to us, you know, he says, okay, I'm gonna let this thing go. He's got a committee of 2 or 3 more trustees to say, okay, we're ready, this is what we know, yes.
Why don't we just,
Yeah,
let's
yeah, it's
pass
not
it
him
as
all by
written with
himself.
The addition of the word historical in front
Good
of opening.
idea.
Okay,
Okay?
yep. Okay, that's what we
I have a
want.
second.
You had
I
it,
think Jim seconded it earlier.
you had it. I'll re-second it.
Okay.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, let's move on to 18. Resolve, the clerk and 2 deputy clerks are authorized to execute ongoing leases with the Lazy Point residents as per the most recently adopted rules and regulations.
Make a motion, we accept.
Second.
Aye.
All in
Wait,
favor?
wait. No, we need 1 second, because.
I'm making the motion.
Francis is offering. We don't need a second, we need it just a second.
Brian, second.
Right.
No motion, you mean?
No, it.
This is the motion.
It's offering.
This is the motion.
Okay, second. I'll second it.
All in favor? 19. Resolved, all the trustees using their own cars for official business or duties outside the town of East Hampton for official business may present a bill for travel mileage at the rate currently approved by the Internal Revenue Service, and when all other conditions of the town board resolution regarding travel mileage of 2017 are met and otherwise approved by the trustees.
I'd like to second that.
I think we just need 1 for official business in that top sentence. I don't think we need it twice. I would just take out the second one.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, it's pretty redundant.
yes, okay. Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, those cookies are good.
Take a sip of water first.
I'm sorry, I think.
Now the big one.
All right, number 20A. Going with the, resolve the fee schedule for the Board of Trustees for the year 2017 is as follows. Applications, $100 for the first application per property, $75 for renewal, one time only. Do we want to do these individually, or?
No, we want to say at this point, is everybody okay with that?
No,
Everybody's
I think
good?
I'd just do the whole thing. We're here reading it.
Yeah, but we
You
could
wanna
have
do the
knocked
whole
off
thing?
applications.
Okay. Moorings, residents, $10 per
Listen to
boat
me.
length foot.
Oh, wow. What'd you just say?
Residents, $10 per boat length foot. Non-residents, $25 per boat length foot. Inspection fees, $50 for large boat moorings, 3 Mile Harbor only. Commercial fishermen, $100 for the first mooring, $50 for a second mooring. Discount as per mooring instructions. A 1 mooring discount, $50. 2 mooring discount, $100. I need an explanation.
Yeah, me too. I don't
Yeah,
understand it.
it's the way this is typed. On your commercial fish, the application for commercial fishermen for their mooring, it does say it's $100 for the mooring. But if you bring in something that says, it's either like a receipt for your sales or
Yeah, it's the
some,
receipt for sale.
yeah, then we'll give you a second mooring for like the reduced rate of $50. So basically, you could get 2 moorings for $100 if you show us that receipt. If not, you get 1 mooring for $100. It's a little, I know.
It's just
hard
one
to
mooring
wrap your head
discount,
around.
2 mooring
But
discount.
yes,
Kinda.
so, yep.
And what's inspection fee?
An inspection fee is when the large boat, in a large boat mooring field, those moorings, and this one, it has been questioned in the past. We used to have, the mooring and the tackle would be installed, and our harbor masters would, review and inspect the,
Sure, it's strong.
make sure it's strong, make sure it's the right materials, and that it's being placed in the right spot.
Okay.
And then after that, we were kind of relying on some committee people who would go down every now and then and look around. So that was just because it was a little bit of extra time on someone's behalf, we had added that. It's been there for quite a while. But the way we could word this a little bit differently, just so it's more clear that this discount for the moorings is strictly for the commercial fishermen's.
So just put commercial in front of discount,
Yeah,
commercial fishermen,
yeah, we could do that,
or even just
yeah.
bump the bottom 3, tab them in a little bit.
Yeah,
So they're like under the heading of commercial fishermen.
exactly.
Well, that's what it's supposed to
Yeah.
be anyway.
So we
That's
don't
what
just
I was supposed to
accept
be
commercial, copy of the commercial license?
Not anymore.
You have to sell. You have to have a receipt.
What do you need?
A receipt?
sale.
No
Receipt.
minimum?
Yeah, what is the?
They sell
Yes,
one
there
fish?
is.
$100,
Yeah.
was it $100 a year
So
or
the lamb, the
something? Yeah, yeah,
What do you mean a receipt
Yeah.
for selling fish?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
To
just to show
prove
that
they're
you're actually
commercial.
an
I see.
active
Right.
commercial fisherman.
I
Yeah.
see.
They're not just using it.
right.
I get you.
All right. Docks and walkways, private, $3 per linear foot. Commercial, $4 per linear foot. Municipal, $4 per linear foot. And minimum of $75.
We don't even allow new docks, though, so
Nope.
when does this come into
They're not-
play?
These are
No, these
existing.
are
Every year,
annual.
annual
Oh, I'm
agreements,
sorry,
yeah,
of course.
yeah.
I think we need to start talking about how we're
Bumping them up.
charging for these. I mean, in light of what's gone on recently with the sunken barge and all that. I personally would like to start a conversation about doing land leases inside these commercial dock areas.
And I'm getting a copy of the leases the town has for its underwater land in Montauk.
Do you mean
Okay.
instead of these, or?
Instead of this, they would actually produce a land lease, therefore making the business owner responsible for those type of situations.
Or it could be an addendum
I
perhaps
understand.
Yeah,
to this.
I think we should, that's gonna take a while to.
Yeah, it
Debate
is.
around that.
I'm just putting it out there that we,
Did we leave it at
start
the
that
last meeting
discussion.
that we were gonna, like you said, just start that discussion, yeah.
Yeah.
after we saw Mr. Vanderveer last. Yeah.
I mean,
And I think we can continue that discussion and yet still keep this in place.
Well,
This can go,
this is where we are
can
this
get
year,
out.
so.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Well, if you do the other, would you keep this?
No, you'd have to change the whole thing. You'd change the way we do it.
Makes
We
sense.
might go by the
And
square
basically-
footage or,
The only thing that would change is the commercial and municipal, because those are the marinas.
yeah.
Privates would stay the same.
what if somebody's boat goes down that's attached to their dock and they don't want to do anything with it?
That'd be a cute idea.
Are we stuck with it?
I mean, we can change this at any point during
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
year.
that's part of the other
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, fish traps, $20 per fish trap. Freestanding pilings, this is in addition to the docks,
Yes.
$15 per piling. Duck blinds, individual permit, $30 per blind.
Comment?
Yep.
There's a big disparity between these user groups. Kayaks, 200, duck blinds, 300,
30.
30, excuse me. Mind you that one could argue, well, folks are out there, you know, shooting for their meals, and that's great, but it is also considered a sport. Having pointed out those two disparities, I think it only fair that the individual permit for the blind be increased, in my opinion, to $50. I think that's very reasonable.
The which, the duck blind or the kayak?
The duck blind. The kayaks can remain the same. I
I'll
think
agree.
$30 is,
I'll agree with that.
you know, so I would make a motion that that fee be increased. And I don't think the guys out there
All right.
would buck on that,
Anybody else have a comment on that?
you know.
I personally haven't done much duck hunting, so I'm trying to, get in the mindset of that, about what else do you have a lot of other expenses associated with starting the season as a duck hunter? Is this really gonna affect people's, ability to get out there and do what they like to do?
I don't think so.
For the cost of about 4 boxes of shells. Yeah, you know?
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah,
You know.
it's well below,
And
in
it's
my
work on
opinion,
behalf of the trustees to go
the cost
see
to
where they've
enjoy.
been left for the winter.
Yeah.
That's true, it does take a lot of work on our part to
Does.
deal with the duck blinds.
It can.
Yeah, it can take an awful lot of work.
So do we,
I think 50
We're just,
is not over the
are we
top
in
or
agreement with that?
yeah.
Did somebody
I just
second?
like to make everything.
We need a
forever,
second.
Jim.
Who?
I know.
You made a second on that
I
one?
made a second
All in
before we
favor?
even thought
A
about it.
blanket
It's in my
second.
head.
I'm just going to abstain on that one because I want a little more time to think on it.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
I'm gonna abstain too.
Let's catch it.
2 abstentions.
Any of this can be revisited.
Dredge materials, $7.50 per cubic yard, $250 minimum. Other structures and staircases, $3 per foot. The kayak fee will be $200 each.
Now, what does that mean?
That's for storage of the kayaks on
okay,
the
okay, go ahead.
trustee-owned wrecks. And shoreline fences, $100 per permit.
Could I just point out, with regard to this disparity in the, duck blind permit versus kayak permit, a lot of that has to do with the amount of administrative work involved in getting this thing implemented. Kayaks are a nightmare,
Almost
yeah.
apples and oranges.
So they take a
Well,
lot of
but
time,
Diane,
lot of time.
to make another point, the duck blinds, in terms of like the work involved in, we spent a lot of time locating all the duck blinds this year, locating all of the basically renegade duck blinds that are out there, the old derelict blinds.
Right.
It has taken a lot, it has
Yeah,
taken a lot of
yeah.
time, and you know
Yeah.
what? Each duck blind that you have to go out and retrieve, I'll tell you right now, it takes some real time to do
Right.
it, so.
And if
Right.
you got two
Raise,
So, but
guys,
I would-
I
three
think,
guys
yeah.
I
with a
think that
blind,
$50 fee, I
Yeah.
think is nominal, I don't
My,
think it's gonna
I'm only
discourage
basing it,
anybody from
yeah,
duck
my
hunting.
opinion, Jim, my opinion is only based on the administrative end
Right.
Yeah.
of the two. That's all I was.
No, but you know what, on this,
Yeah.
on the duck blind thing,
Okay, yeah.
there's a cost, like an unforeseen cost
Right.
in the derelict blind situation, that has been considerable,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Can we impound?
This is number 20B.
With kayaks, if someone leaves it there, it gets impounded, they pay a fee to get it back. I mean, if we had a duck blind tagging system, then couldn't we have all the blinds
We got the
tagged, know where
duck
they are?
blind tagging system, but you know what happens is the season comes to an end. Some of the blinds get dislodged, they get moved, they get buried in the marshes and stuff. When they ultimately emerge somewhere, we get a call to come and deal with them. And by that time, that piece of plastic bag that is the tag
Right.
has long since blown away.
You guys would like to start taking photos of them so you know
We
what they
have.
look like.
That's what they're doing.
Yeah, we've done that. We've-
So even if that tag's removed, you can still know who it was, whose
Yeah.
it was, right?
There's no DNA analysis
It's
here.
not
okay?
deteriorated or knocked apart by a storm.
I guess it's
Well,
different than a kayak, because no one's gonna come back and say, hey, I need my duck blind back. You
Well-
impounded it, you know, whereas a kayak, they are gonna come back and say, hey, I need that kayak back.
High likelihood.
All right, I understand that, yeah.
Okay.
We're good?
We're good.
All right, Lazy Point leases, $1,500.
It's actually 1683. That's what it was last year. That's wrong. 1,500's wrong.
Say this again?
It's 1683.
Yep.
That's what was last year's. fee.
Right,
And
and
it goes up 2%.
Of
is
the
it
Lazy Point leases?
2%? That's what the rules and regs we adopted last year said? Okay.
Correct.
So it goes, it's 2% more than 1683.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know what that figure is, but
No, that's the transfer.
1683 times 2 with 2 decimal places back. I don't know.
17.
No, wait a minute, what are you doing? I do want to know.
She was just saying, what's 2% of 1683?
But wait a minute, no, the 2% is of rental or sale. What is this 1625?
I just like
From
math.
15 to
I
1625?
can tell you
last
what it
year
is.
it was 1683.
Why is it written
It's
15?
it's
Because
plus
it's just
3366.
printed out from years past.
Yeah.
I get 171666.
Yeah, it's 3360, plus 3366. 16, plus
All right,
30.
so,
Okay.
the Lazy Point fees for 2017 will be $1,716.66.
Is that it? They go up every year.
Per lot, and then the proportionate share of those who have two or a portion of the second one. Okay.
What's the difference between
Yeah.
this year and last year?
Like about $34 roughly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Under $34.
And it was written in the
Yeah, I remember.
rules and regs.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
yeah.
Okay. Additionally, the appropriate proportional share of those who lease a portion of a second lot. Okay. Some houses straddle two
Yes.
lots.
Correct.
Right.
Okay. Transfer fee, 2% of rental or sale of house on trustee property.
Correct.
Shellfish bags, $1 each. Shellfish,
Question, is that rental, are you charging a transfer fee on the rental of the
Yes.
house?
Yep,
So in other words, if they sublease it?
correct.
So they sublease whatever the sublease and rent per annum per year.
or seasonal.
That was actually 4%.
4%.
I just want to make sure I understand. So if
Yeah.
someone subleases that, because they're leasing the land from you.
Because we raised the transfer.
If they rent the house to someone else,
Transfer fee should be
what do you charge?
Oh, that's true.
Is it 2 or 4,
It's
Lori?
4%.
4.
4.
Because two's paid by the
Four.
seller.
4 on a rental.
4%.
Somehow
Wait,
it's
wait.
2 and 2 from two
Wait,
different
wait,
sources.
Guys,
Yeah.
wait,
It's 2%
Rental-
per year for the lease fee and 4% transfer.
Yes.
let me understand. Someone owns a house at Lazy Point on your land. They're renting the land from you.
Correct.
They now rent out the house for the year, for the season, whatever. What are you guys charging them for the rental?
4%
4% of whatever the rental is.
Correct.
For that year,
for the rental period.
for the rental period, whatever.
Right, it might be a month, could be the whole year.
How are you made aware of the rentals? I mean, I know they're supposed to tell you, but how?
They
They
give us
they have to have approval by
application.
this board to rent.
So it's assumed that they're telling you if they rent it.
Yes.
Yes.
Pretty small community to be.
Yeah, they-
Yeah, I know.
Well, they submit.
Pretty
they
thorough
submit a
applications.
lease that they have with their tenant.
Sorry, Pat, what were you
It's a
saying?
pretty thorough application.
Okay. So you get 4, now, on a sale of the house,
Same. 4,
2%.
no, 4.
4%.
All right, so
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 4 goes to
2% or
the,
4%?
4 goes to the government,
four, it's.
Is that right? And
3%
four,
from
then another four comes to us?
No.
Can't be.
If you sell it, no,
lease.
4%.
CPF doesn't apply here.
No.
Okay,
Right.
I get you.
Not, at least, that's my
That's
view.
right.
CPF
No, that
doesn't
is
apply.
true.
It's not a sale of
There's
the,
no land changing.
in property. You're selling personal property, the house.
Yeah, it's just all thoroughly worked out.
So
It was
it's
4%, so you're
4%,
changing
and-
that.
And it's split between the buyer and the seller, correct?
This was incorrect.
Yes.
It was incorrectly written.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
it's
what I'm, got me completely confused here, okay.
Change it,
4 and 4.
4%.
4 for
On the
rental,
transfer.
4%.
Okay.
And 2 and 2 for each, if I understand correctly, okay.
However, that's let them work it out.
Okay, so the transfer fee of a rental will be 4%. The sale of a house on trustee property will be 4% shared by the buyer and the seller.
Yeah, oh, good, yes.
That's
Gotta
in
add
the,
that in.
Rules and
the
Whatever it
rules and
says.
regs, that verbiage about sharing the costs is in the rules
Yeah,
and
whatever's in
regs.
the rules and regs
Yeah.
is what we're doing.
Okay?
Yep.
All right, so shellfish bags are $1 each. Shellfish tags, first 50 are free, second 100 are $10.
Can I, with regard to these have been pretty much in the same amount for a very long time, but I do know within the last few years, we've had to replenish both. So while I'm not looking to really make money on these, if we could just recalculate it to ensure that at least what we expended in costs for these two items, we would get back over time as we disperse them out to people.
Have you checked
Yeah.
that out, Lori? We're not in the hole for bags, right?
No,
No, we're cool.
no, this is tags.
Tags and bags.
Tags.
Yeah,
It's late,
right,
Seems like we should be making it up on.
so we're good.
yeah. But,
Seems pretty heavy,
all right,
but she
Okay.
said you paid 200.
Why are we giving 50 free?
it was the first 50 because it's really, it was initiated as a,
Curious?
you know, a way to promote local shellfish. And so, you know, it's really the first 50 away, just say, here, use these, and,
Get to work.
yeah, get to work, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's got our name and logo on it, and it's nice, yeah.
An impound fee, $250 per item.
We're talking mainly
Yeah.
kayaks here, right?
Mainly.
I mean,
Mainly.
that's,
I guess we could impound moorings.
Oh, we're
Yes.
impound
Yeah.
boats.
There's a lot of
Yep.
things we could, yeah.
Yep,
What if
we
you get
could.
60 tags?
Oh, you know what, I want to say something about the tags.
Um,
This is not reading
Okay.
right, because the
have to get your
second
50 or
50,
100
we
or 150.
decided just to give out 50 for $5. That's what the motion was last year.
Oh,
oh,
okay.
So
okay.
it's the first 50 free, the second 50 for 5.
Okay, yeah.
That's, okay. That's
Yeah.
a little better, because then people
Yeah.
can get less than 150 if they want
Yeah.
to.
So the first 50 is
Free.
Free.
free, and the
Second
second,
50 is $5.
Right. And the way it should work is that we take boxes of tags up to the town clerk, and as she issues her commercial licenses,
is.
she can
Works
give
out
a
to be the same.
person 50 tags. When they use them up and they need more, they're supposed to come back to us
So
and
we
pay
don't-
us the $5. For a while there, the clerk was collecting that extra money as well, but I'd rather they'd come back to the trustees.
That's what they.
Yeah, yeah.
It's basically 10 cents a tag, I mean,
Yeah.
after 50.
So,
Can we just say that, so people don't have to buy blocks of 50 tags at once? Like, why
no,
would
they
you?
like blocks. They do.
But then what if you don't
They
use them
never
all?
come, they never.
Isn't it only the commercial guys that need these tags?
What's that? They need these tags.
Yeah, it's just the commercial guys.
All right,
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if you bought 150 of them and you didn't use them all, it's just a waste of tags.
No, you can use them the next year.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, they're not like annual. You just can keep use them.
Right,
Yeah.
I know that, but I mean,
Yeah,
Basically, they identify the source of,
no, it's very important, of course, but it just, I
Yeah.
don't want people to end up with tags they're not going to use or something.
all right.
Give them to
So
your friends.
Put them earrings.
that's it for number 20. Do I have,
Like them.
Peter Spacek in a
Seconded.
comic?
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Seconded as amended.
Number 21, resolve, the trustees utilize the interest accumulated from the Rysam Fund for the calendar year 2017 in a manner consistent with its original intent.
second,
Yeah, All for
All in
that.
favor?
Aye.
22 had an amendment here. Resolved, 5 members of the public at large will be appointed to the Trustee Harbor Management Committee for staggered 4-year terms, and as they perform regular and valuable service to East Hampton, be it further resolved, a stipend of $50 be provided to each member of the Harbor Management Committee from the funds held by the trustees for each monthly meeting,
Attended by.
attended by said member.
So you just gotta do something
Now-
with 5 members and 4-year terms. Is it 5-year terms, or
Well,
how are you gonna stagger
yeah,
this?
yeah. There's a question here about the staggering of terms. So,
Council, we don't just appoint every year.
You should have a set, by the way, second.
Appoint them every year?
Times,
I don't know why.
Right,
so they are
yeah.
naturally staggered as of right now.
Yeah, you should
but are you,
second.
but are you keeping track of the,
We're
Big
not
term
keeping
runs out.
track
Right.
of the,
Right.
you know,
Want to just take that
Yeah.
out and not really worry about that? I mean, can't we just
point them annually.
appoint them manually? Yeah.
I'm in agreement with that.
You're appointing for set terms.
Well, the value to having a term that may be different than the term of a trustee is so there's continuity going forward. So if someone's been working on a project like duck blind surveys or mooring field surveys or kayak rack recommendations, that knowledge goes forward with the committee.
But what you're saying
On
is
the
right
other
now,
hand-
right now the terms are already staggered, just by the time people are going on
Right,
there. So if we just leave it like this, it's gonna continue. One
Well,
year,
look,
Or
you
just-
probably have complete plenary power over the Harbor Management Committee. A new board of trustees could say, you know what, we're gonna change the entire membership at any time. It's not like it's governed by, the New York Town Law and the planning board and things like that. You can make this up as you go along, so.
Yeah, it's not the
Because you
Supreme
have to
Court.
remember, a couple months ago, the question was, who are these people, what are they doing?
Right, but they're good,
Right.
and valuable.
So if the new board comes on, you go, well, they're staggered for, like Mr. Plitt's 4 years, and this is only his second year. The new board coming in might say, well, I don't know if I want him for, 2 more years, Whereas, like you said, the issue of continuity is good. I like it. I
But
think that's why we did it.
Rick's saying there's no way to
But-
preclude a new board from changing that, though.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But if you are gonna
They could
say
just
it,
pass
at
a
least
new
have the
resolution, a
numbers
different
match.
resolution.
right.
so you're
You got
saying
5 people,
5-year
I don't
terms
recommend
staggered.
4 staggered 4-year terms.
Right,
No.
that too. yeah.
Do we have 5 members now or 4?
We have a 5th candidate that I was going to bring to the board's attention at our next meeting.
Okay.
And we actually have a couple of other candidates that are interested.
So you don't even have
Have
5 members.
Robust interest.
Right.
That's great.
You don't actually have 5 members.
We have 4, and the 5th, that's a pretty strong candidate.
okay.
So that means a minimum of $250 per meeting, if we keep that, the $50 fee in there, just so
Maximum,
everybody's,
really, yeah.
maximum, yeah.
I'm not saying these
Yeah.
guys don't do good work, but I just have to tell you that there are literally hundreds and hundreds of committees throughout our town that receive no stipends, disability advisory boards, all the community committees. I don't think it's appropriate.
Well, these guys-
Myself,
You guys want to explain what the project you just completed
lot
with
more
them?
work than most
Just so you
I
know.
would beg to differ. I know plenty of committees out there that really work hard.
Not that other
do
committees don't
really-
work hard, I'm just
Well,
saying.
you just said.
Right. What I was getting at was that, like, the Nature Preserve Committee, for instance, which I'm on, I mean, I go to the meeting, and that's, I mean, you might go check out a site, but it's really not, I mean, the Harbor Management Committee, those guys are go out in the water, they're GPSing this stuff, they're like,
They're spending days on the water.
Yeah.
Documenting this stuff.
So what does that come out to, 25 cents an hour?
It's just a stipend. They're doing it for themselves, but it helps pay, some of them are using their own equipment.
They're doing their own research.
Anyway, I'm just opposed to the stipend.
Okay.
In light of the fact that, as I said, other people that work hard volunteering for the town do not get monies. So I don't think that's the reason why they're doing it. And,
No, it's not.
I think they do good work, and that's that.
I definitely see your point.
Yep.
But,
That's it.
it's only $250, I don't think it's a huge, I mean, I don't think it's a drop in the bucket compared to other stuff we pay for. And I think it's worth it, so I like this stipend.
Right.
This has been
This was
going
how
on
this,
for-
this was how this committee was set up originally.
No, I know.
Yeah, I would suggest we pass it and just take the word staggered out of it. Just appoint these people to 4-year terms?
Is it gonna be 4 or 5?
And if,
5 members, 4 years.
5 members, 4 years?
yeah. Just take the word staggered out of the way it's written.
And I agree.
There's nothing in that wording that precludes them from being re-upped,
No, and there's nothing that precludes another board from
reappointing
going in a
them.
different direction.
Good.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
One
I'm-
opposed?
I'll just abstain, what is the word?
Abstain?
Abstain, excuse me,
And,
yeah.
and I will abstain as I have a relative who's a member of this committee. So there's no conflict of interest here.
Very fond of you.
Okay, number 23,
It's right there, yep.
and the last resolution.
Okay. Phew.
Resolved, the Board of Trustees shall employ 2 pump-out boat operators in harbors and water bodies. This isn't exactly true, because they do cover Montauk.
Yeah. Three Mile Harbor and Montauk,
I thought so.
yeah.
Yeah,
We've tried to get them to kind of sneak over towards Sag Harbor a little bit when available, or
right.
over into Hog Creek, you know?
yeah, they went outside of 3 Mile
Yeah.
this past summer for that very large
Yeah,
boat.
yeah. But it's mostly 3 Mile and Montauk.
So should we
But-
just cross out owned by town trustees?
Yes, because
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Well,
Montauk
That's
one.
the
The original
new one.
resolution doesn't even have, yeah.
No,
Bodies
this is
owned by
amended by
board of
Rick.
trustees
And the town of East Hampton? Just add, and
That
the
wording
town of
isn't
East
right
Hampton?
anyway.
or the town of East Hampton.
Or the town of East Hampton?
I mean, you could be more specific and just say Lake Montauk, because there's no other water body
Or
owned
you
by
could
the
say,
Well, no, but like this summer, they went out, there was a very large boat
In North of
anchored
Gardner's Bay?
in between 3 Mile and Sag Harbor, and they requested pump out, and we
All right,
did
that's
send
not
them.
owned by the town of East Hampton out there, so.
but to protect the quality of East Hampton town waters.
In harbors and water bodies within the town of East Hampton, why don't you say that? Harbors and water bodies within the town of East Hampton, because that's within the town limits. And I'd also recommend it in brackets there, I'd recommend you describe what they do. I mean, I know, but so many words, just explain what a pump-out operator does.
If that's legally important, yeah, I mean,
No, we should, future people may not understand what a pump-out operator was in 2017.
Okay.
okay, for posterity, for like, future, I mean,
We're not going to come up with that right now.
Oh,
To
It's
remove-
very
Yeah.
technical.
It's just to
Yeah.
remove waste material from the holding tanks and boats.
Yeah, that's all right, too.
Yeah.
Are we gonna bump their up per hour?
I think we
As per the
should.
requests of the EPA, we got the thing. $16.50 the higher of
I
the
don't know
2
anyone who
ounce.
can work here for $16.50 an hour.
No.
No.
I think
I
these
can
guys
live here.
They also
should be in
get
line
tips.
with the new gal we're hiring, 18.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so do I.
Just say each will get 18.
Yeah,
Yeah, we don't.
They
need
work their
to know
tail off.
first and
They
second.
got a dirtier job.
yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Don't forget, they get tips. They get good tips.
Yeah,
Ask me if I would do it for 18.
No, I still wouldn't do it.
Still a shitty job.
Yeah, they do get a lot of tips.
That
They,
pretty well
um,
describes it.
They do get their training each spring.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, yeah. Anybody want to consider, maybe not for tonight, but, or if it needs to go in here, but we have in the past considered purchasing of a third boat, but maybe in the interim, see if we can find a third operator who would be available, like in the event one of our operators gets sick.
They're getting older.
Yeah, currently they're working 5 days a week in each water body, but let's say, something's coming up in 3 Mile Harbor,
Well, it would be
An
good
event
to,
where you might need 2.
event, yeah, or, where you might need 2, or the one who's generally does 3 Mile Harbor is not available, so,
Yeah,
well,
that
if
one
we
doesn't
had
need
this
to grab.
person, it could be in until there's a third boat, they could do the other 2 days of the
EPA.
week.
Right, right, that would
They
be,
would have to stagger their days
I did
off.
the paperwork,
Yeah,
the
that's true,
EPA gives
stagger.
these things to you.
oh yeah, our last one, we got $74,000 worth of
Yes.
grants.
Yeah, and I think it was a $90,000
Paperwork.
vote.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
everything was said and done.
Yeah,
Fellow from
so-
Rhode Island makes them, yeah.
Yeah,
All right,
So we
I
start
need
the
a second
paperwork.
on this
oh,
resolution.
okay.
All right,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Okay, that's it for the resolutions. All right, administrative. Payment of bills. Fidelity National Title Insurance Services LLC, $380.19. That was for the Maidstone Club Hook Pond Bridge. Staples, $9.63, $31.20, and $34.02 for a total of $74.84. Savick and Murray, $1,637.20 for the survey done for the Lazy Point ramp. Matthews, Kirst, and Cooley, PLLC, $187.50 for the Zweig case. Anthony Tohill, $3,359.10 for the Seaview case. And Optimum, $165.56.
We, from time to time, ask the attorneys representing the big litigation, Zweig, Seaview, that they come in and give us an update, so we have some kind of idea of where we're at. And I think we're due to have them come. So I would
Yeah, I'd
ask
like
that
to
the
hear it.
clerk reach out to these attorneys, and please ask them to be present at our future, sooner than later meeting to let us know what's going on, give us an update.
And
I mean, Seaview must be done, it's done, I mean, this, it must be the
Yeah,
last year to
Seaview
pay
is,
them.
Well,
it just
we-
keeps going
For
on.
that.
one, we know the other side is
Ready to
gonna
pay
probably
Savick
appeal.
and Murray. There are no
So
surveys.
can we have, can you touch base with these attorneys?
did
and
one
see
Happy
what's-
to, you'd like them to.
You
I
can
mean, there's
deliver
not
it.
much
Has to be.
going on right
No,
now.
he
I
never
think
gets
there's some
surveys.
stuff from the Napeed case we
you
might
can-
want to talk about in executive session
Make a
at some
motion to
point in
table
time.
I will.
You know, when you're caught up with,
Well, I can.
No
it. You
discrepancy.
don't
I mean,
have
if
to
you
go
could-
into,
No,
talk to
no
Tohill and
discrepancy.
then
Nothing's
come
wrong.
back and talk to us
He sent me
about some of
a
the
letter
we're
today.
waiting.
it's all helpful.
Survey.
Make a motion to pay the bills if,
No, I'd like to just make a motion that we not pay Savick and Murray just yet.
We're waiting for a copy of the survey.
oh, we didn't get a copy?
No,
Not
we
yet.
don't, there is no survey. We're
What is that
We're
about?
working
Why are
on
they
this.
giving us a bill?
No, it was referred to as a
Was that for the
survey, it's
ramp?
not. It's sketches
Oh,
and
okay.
a few other
All
things
right,
that
no.
I wanted to get for free.
He sketched the launching ramps, plus he did meet with the DEC.
Yes.
So will you give them a call?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're in touch. There's this bill and there's one that's already paid.
Okay.
And it's up there in my thing.
So we're gonna hold this bill,
So I'll make a
This is the new
motion to
bill,
pay
let's
the bills
hold it.
except for Savick and Murray.
yeah.
For a very short time.
Do I have a second?
Aye.
I second it.
All in favor?
Fine.
All right, number 2, renewal of certificate of deposit, account ending in number 7248.
I'd like to make a motion to pay that, or to,
roll it
Roll it over. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And we have a financial report for the month ending December 31, 2016.
No.
We don't?
No.
Oh, it's on here.
Oh, wow. We don't
Okay,
have it.
it's not
Next
ready yet.
meeting.
All right, other business. Let's talk about that Georgia Pond opening. What I got was from some of the baymen there who have, because it's so deep, they're having difficulty doing their bait fishing in the areas that they normally use. So it would be helpful to them if we could lower the level a bit.
Was that because the bait's not as consolidated and more of the deeper channels? It
I-
would seem they'd have more accessibility with the pond being high, but that the bait would be more when
Concentrates the bait into a smaller
Yeah, they don't have to,
it's wet.
space,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's wet.
I mean, I've heard other concerns too besides that, just people saying that the pond looks green.
The pond.
That it's, and it's just
It
very
was
high in general.
murky, but
Well, it's high, guys, not for nothing. Irregardless of the bait fishing, irregardless of anything going on.
it's very high.
The risk we run on a natural letting of the pond is exactly the situation we had last year when the pond breached on its own. It breached to the west.
Yeah.
We had Georgia Association climbing down our throats for the
Yeah, we don't wanna risk that
erosion
again.
going down on their property. I think it behooves us to let it ourselves, to let it to the east where it belongs, and actually know then where the pond's being let. It's high right now.
And it's not, it's not going to be, it's not going to be a clear
Yeah,
letting.
Again,
no, where it is right now, we can open it right now
With a shovel.
fairly easily in the right location. Right now, we want to keep the pond being open in that narrow strip of land that the trustees own there.
We only own a 100-foot stretch.
We own 110 foot in there. The pond is very suitable to be let right now, and to be let in that spot, which will preclude it from going where we don't want it to go. I think it behooves us to open it soon, right where it's simple, where we opened it the last time. There's a natural cut about halfway out, but you could get a storm that could open it to the, to the east or the west. The deep water, there's a deep water channel that runs pretty much on the western side of the pond, that
And it wants to let there.
if it breaches there again, we're gonna be right back where we were. If we open it right now, I was down there a couple of days ago, it's trying, right where we had the remnants of the first cut, it's right, that would be a fairly simple job to open it there. It would keep the cut we wanted. It would also allow us to get some aerial photographs of the shallow
projects we
parts
wanna
of the
do.
pond.
Yeah.
We wanted to get some drone work done there for the purposes of acquiring a big permit, which is going to be a substantial financial benefit to the trustees. So, for all of those reasons.
In
I
addition
think
to
we
all
should-
that,
like-
it also is
I
better
would
for the
like
health
to-
of the pond to be open more often.
I'd like to make a motion that we open the pond, we let the pond at the clerk's discretion.
I'll second it.
Can I just clarify, as Bill was talking,
Mm-hmm.
he's talking about where we opened it last time, and then we're talking about where the trustee properties are. Just let's make sure where it was open last time is on the trustee property.
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah.
yes.
That.
And although
when it-
I'm in
when it-
favor of-
When it opened naturally, it
went
opened in a
somewhere
very
else. I know.
dangerously
Right.
spot,
I know.
so.
So I'm in favor of the clerk's discretion, but I think you should pretty much have an idea, right? Is it this week, next week? And I think the public should just have kind of a ballpark, take this opportunity.
Well, we're gonna notify the interested parties that we've discussed, Georgia Association.
Within the next couple of
And
weeks?
only,
why?
not the public.
No.
Why?
We already
Yeah.
went through this today.
Yeah.
Just a matter of
Oh,
courtesy.
so we're opening it up for Georgia Association?
We're not opening it up
no,
for
no,
Georgia
no.
Association.
We're notifying
You know
the-
what? They're
Public
an
and ourselves
interest-
to make
they're
We're
an
notifying the
interested
same
party.
people Jimmy
We have to
McCaffrey used
traverse-
to notify, for people.
Okay,
Hey.
who's next on the list?
Okay.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Where's this coming from?
We're doing
We're gonna
this.
notify the Georgia
Yes, because we
Association.
have to travel across their property to get to where we want to let it.
So
have to sign
they're
an agreement.
allowing us to open the pond.
No,
For the Bayman.
no. We sign an agreement, we get an agreement with them all the time
No,
to
we don't.
traverse their property.
No, we don't. No, we
We
don't.
never had.
No, we don't.
Well, we do now.
Only in the last, 2 years of that January excavation permit. Historical openings, there's no permit between the trustees and Georgia Combined to go let it.
But it works.
Yeah.
This is
And the
not
Georgia
a
people
historical
Can I
opening.
tell
are
you what-
working
It is
hard
not,
on this.
it is
spending a lot
not
of
part of
money.
that permit, though.
Being good neighbors here.
Yes.
Okay, come on.
Good neighbors works two ways, and I've been on the other side of that
And
fence
it worked
too
very
often.
well last year. It was just communication.
I agree with opening the
Everybody was-
pond, I do not agree with just letting it, with it getting Georgia Association's permit to traverse the beach.
Okay, if they want to come across your backyard with equipment to do work, they're going to get your permission? Anybody?
Depends on what
Anytime
they
you
were
want to
doing,
open
I
up
guess.
that pond,
I know.
anytime, guess who you're gonna go to?
Georgia Association, if we want to go in from the west. Why
The
is
only
that
way
a
you can
problem?
go.
Actually, guys,
No, you can
guys,
go the
my
other way.
understanding from the meeting we had, it is not a permit from Georgia Association.
No, it's an agreement.
It was a negotiated courtesy
Yes.
that we are extending to the Georgia Association. And you know what, to me, we were
Who
at
owns
that.
the pond?
So do you
Georgia
see now
Association or
what
the
difference
people?
a phrase can make?
Hey, Tim, if you want a helicopter, a piece of equipment
Courtesy
in there and
versus
drop it on
permit.
that 100-foot
It's
strip, go
not a
for it.
permit.
It's
It
what you
doesn't say
said.
that,
That's what
no.
you, I know, that's what I'm saying. Do you see how important phraseology is?
Oh, yes, but that's why
Okay.
I'm trying to clear up this
So much for
misunderstanding.
historical openings.
You know,
Again, if someone needed to go through your yard to do work next door, do they have to ask
even if,
you?
well, even if you had the right, it would be reasonable.
No.
Be reasonable to say, hey, I'm gonna be down
to
here
notify.
tomorrow with a
Right.
I
But the thing is, nobody cared until sand became like gold, you know?
Okay.
So,
Well,
anyway, beyond that, beyond
We're not
that, the point I
excavating
think,
sand
the
right
point
now.
I think Tim is trying to make is that, like I said, that is an attractive nuisance, and it's good for the pond, but it's dangerous. You start now, publicly, you say, we're gonna notify the Georgia Association. Well, then the Baymen's Association is gonna notify us, we wanna know. And then it's the
Time over the next 2 weeks, it's not.
you know.
Blows up.
No, it's not a
Big-
specific time, but it's the entities. What if, whatever entity it is, we want to know when you're going to open it. It's like, and then you just get all caught up in that. So if it would just been, the committee had said there's a negotiated courtesy between us and the association, let it go. All right, done.
You're good with
Done.
that?
good to
I
go.
can
Sorta
deal with
good,
it, sort of
sorta good with it?
Sort of good,
Okay. Sometimes sort of good's as good as it's going to be.
exactly. Exactly. All right.
me.
With the sewer,
Gotta go across
Yeah.
their property, and we gotta open it, I wanna
Okay.
open it, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
I made a motion.
Yeah.
Did
Yeah, let's vote on this now. I'll-
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed.
Okay.
Dan, what do you?
I'm okay with opening the pond.
Okay.
One
That's all I'm going
opposed,
to
Tim.
say.
Yeah.
Okay.
New duck line applications.
Okay.
We have people proposing duck blinds in areas where there have not been before. And there's some questions about whether we want to go this route. So, we'll start with the first one,
Which one is that?
Pond of Pines.
Sure. Yep. Yeah, there is an
Good
application.
idea.
Pond of the Pines, we all know, down on Cranberry Hill Road.
From known Hunter.
It, is located near the state property there, so there's quite a bit of open space for a safe field of shooting. The blind would be positioned on the north side of the pond, facing away from the road, away from Cranberry Hill Road.
I'd be shooting out over the pond.
I did reach out to Barley at the Shellfish Hatchery, and he is okay with the placement of a blind on the property. He did say as long as the buoys for his gear were not used as target practice. So,
That ain't happening. I know the applicant.
no, it sounds like a really good application. I think it's a great spot. Blind as a hunter, I think it's a good spot. I think a floater's good there to stay off the marsh grasses, so, and the applicant was okay with doing a floating blind there.
There's a good place down there to take it in and out also.
Well, when you say a floater, will it be a traditional blind?
Yeah, it just have to have a little flotation and a dock.
Oh, okay.
Floating blind,
yeah.
so it would be, secured to the bottom, but floating, rather than putting up some snow fence up on the marsh where you'd be trampling, things like that.
Yeah, there's an area down there that's used as a launching ramp also, this
Yep,
spot there.
so there's a
so-
little spot to get it in and out, before and
And
after the season.
we haven't traditionally had a blind in here in the past. Does anybody know why?
I'm curious.
I am
It's proximity to
He-
where houses are?
No. I spoke to this applicant, and he's been hunting there, minus a traditional blind, with his father, his grandfather. The Bennetts have been there for 100 years.
Okay.
And he had it all sighted out. Joe Blocker, not Blocker, the old DEC guy.
Yes.
He helped Alan make sure that, and Tick, that it was a good, safe spot. So I'm all for it.
So you've
Okay.
you've
Okay.
looked at this really carefully.
Absolutely.
So I'm good with it.
You had a
good idea.
thought. maybe
I had a
alive.
thought, yeah, because, we do have the hunting in Napeak Harbor and, all the other harbors. Anyway, Hook Pond is one within the village, and it has been called like, one of the hunters referred to it almost like a sanctuary. Like, there's at least one water body where the birds can fly over and they will come down, knowing that it's not, because they do have some
yeah,
sense
that
of where
makes
they're
a
gonna
lot
get
of sense,
shot.
actually.
So my thought had been, because I hadn't been aware of any hunting in this pond, that perhaps, as they are traversing over the town, here's another spot where they can come down and at least rest. Because if they're shot at everywhere in town,
But
I mean,
apparently
Jim knows ducks
They're
better than
hunting
I
there
do,
either way,
but
apparently, so.
apparently, yeah.
Mike, can I express a concern with this? Going back to your explanation that they have used this over the years with multiple generations, we're not aware of whether or not other people have done the same thing. If you were to put a blind in here, this is such a small pond that you're basically privatizing it for that one person.
Well,
Well, if
you're
another one comes
privatizing it for the blind location
Well, but
next year.
is
that
there enough
person-
room here for multiple blinds?
I don't think so, no.
Exactly.
way.
So if there's no
Might
room
get
for
to,
multiple
might.
blinds, somebody can't even go there on foot while they're
But
using the
that's
blind.
true, that's true of any blind location. If
That's
someone gets a
really true
good
of any
spot,
blind.
That's
you've
right.
got that good spot, and it's kind of always worked that way, where if you get that spot, you hold on to it, and then
Yeah.
when you're done, it moves on to the next
And this
person.
is
But
a
that's like
family
clamming,
that's
scalloping,
multi-generational, too.
everything is like
Yeah.
that. You don't go clamming on someone's sloop
But in
spot. you
water
know.
bodies where we're like maxing out, like Georgica Pond and Fresh Pond, the spots are getting more controversial permit, the whole concept of once you have it forever. It's something we need to be aware of and address and understand that if we issue a permit in here, it is going to be just that one person.
Yeah, if
What about
this
the
was large
trustee
enough for
blind?
multiple, I could support it, but I really.
Yeah, but I don't understand your point, though, Francis, because this is a situation like Fresh Pond, there's only 4 spots.
But there's
on
4
the
spots. There's
Yeah, but it's a
multiple
much bigger
people.
body of water.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so
Exactly.
I think this is proportional to,
But you're turning around and saying, okay, we're giving it to this guy. On what basis? Because he asked. What if someone else wanted
nobody else
it?
asked.
But our rules are also, once you have a blind, you automatically get it next year. So we're now saying,
Unless you don't take it.
but you're saying that as long as he keeps coming back, he basically owns this pond during hunting season.
Yeah.
And I have,
When is the end of hunting
too-
season?
crazy about
not
that.
very
You
long?
know,
January, month of January.
I understand what you're saying, Francis, but in all honesty, I mean, part of what we're about, and I think you'll agree, is, maintaining these traditions
And
and
being,
make,
and being stewards of the land.
Yeah.
Okay, and my feeling may differ from yours. My feeling has been that one of our roles here is just what Brian said, to ensure that traditional activities continue to occur in these areas, and to me, to be able to expand upon those uses where we can.
But you're not expanding, you're limiting. You could go in the opposite direction.
No,
What's wrong with allowing them to continue walking around the pond, hunting on foot, and allowing Tyler to go down there tomorrow if he chooses? Once the blind is there, it's done, it's his.
It's a point.
Or what about the trustee blind that we tried to get going a couple years ago? We had one in Napeag and one in Scoy's Pond. And it was, we put the blind in, we had a lottery, if you're interested, and then each hunter got a week.
It's like rent a blind.
Yeah,
No.
but, Sportsman's Alliance gave us a whole bag full of buoys,
That's actually a nice,
decoys.
that's a nice, that's
That
a nice
would-
gesture.
that would
I don't
be-
know
That's how
whether-
Southampton
Other ways
does, isn't it?
to do that.
They have
too,
guides.
utilize time.
My opinion is I don't see.
Yeah, but that would
I'd be
allow
fine
the
with
pond to
that.
be
I
hunted
just
by
don't
more
like the
people.
idea of it becoming one person's.
We put another
yeah,
one
but,
here.
He's the only one that
I
asked.
mean,
See Francis's point, definitely. But,
And
There's
for
only a month left of
generations.
hunting
I see
season.
your
Nothing
point,
wrong
but
with
you know what I
putting it
also
there.
see is, I gotta tell you, Rick and I went around and we surveyed all the blinds that were out there. And there was a part of me that appreciate the blind that you went to that had about 4 tags stapled over each other. And you looked back and you saw that it was the same guy had been there for whatever, the last 4 or 5 years. And you know what? hey, you know, I
But that was in a place that is probably much more appropriate than this little,
don't know
And,
why
you know,
it's
we
much
have a
more
committee.
appropriate, you know,
because
it's-
other people can use it, use
I
that
feel
area.
like, you know, the committee is not, we have, this is a committee.
Right.
Okay, so the committee comes back and makes a recommendation, and it's my understanding, and I had spoken to Rick about this, that when you take into consideration the fact that the family's been hunting in there for a long time, very responsible, and frankly, I don't think there's anybody after Alan, to be honest with you.
But you don't, do you know
Well,
that?
excuse me, no. Okay, I'm not looking to trip over dental floss here, all right? I'm just presenting that the man came to us and said, I'd like to put a blind here, it meets all the necessary setbacks. I spoke to the committee, now the trustees, the clerk, is now taking the work of the committee and just kind of like.
No,
yep.
no. I'm one person on this board of 9. I
Right.
cannot stop this no matter what my opinion is. And I'm entitled to express my
Yeah,
opinion
but I
just
don't
like you are.
I understand that, but I don't understand your strong opposition to somebody that meets the setbacks. I mean, you're saying,
It has
what
nothing
if,
to do
what
with
if?
him.
But I don't
It's
look
not
at-
a personal vendetta.
No,
This
I
is-
didn't say it was.
My feeling is that this should be available to everybody, not just one person.
And he's the only
But how do
person
you-
that asked.
But we
You
don't,
know,
but
this guy's gonna be penalized, Francis. I hear what you're saying.
That's absurd.
But if the trustees decide.
Brian, we can
to put a
disagree.
Well, of course,
blind-
no,
blind
we
in
can.
there,
Oh, no.
Basically penalizing this guy for actually going through the system
Right.
and coming to us.
Instead of putting a blind in
And
there.
I'd like to just add also, you know, that when, you know, if you have people more ad hoc on this type of a environmentally sensitive piece, you're gonna see, you know, trampling of the upland grasses. You're gonna see maybe getting tangled up in the gear where they're approaching the pond from. Here you have a correctly permitted blind in a correct location with communication with the hatchery, so it's done properly.
I understand all
You know,
that.
just having.
Again, this is just my
Yeah, no,
opinion,
my
and,
opinion is
and,
a little
and,
different on this one.
and
I
somebody
think it's a
wants to
good
make a
application, and it's a good spot for a blind, and I would prefer to see people hunting from trustee blinds than, you know, more kind of ad hoc, where maybe they get themselves into a spot where their
Person
line
grew
of
up in
sight.
that area.
What if
But
someone's
you don't know
hunting?
if other people aren't using
what
it
if someone's
also. They
hunting
just
from
haven't
here-
come
Everybody
to us,
else saying, can
because they didn't
We
think
shouldn't
that
consider
we
the
could put a
application based on
blind.
who it is. We should
Francis?
look at applications as applications that are.
So what if someone's up over here now, they're on
We're
foot?
working for our people.
Excuse me, everyone. What if we're on foot and they're up over here now and they start shooting across the road? So when they're
Is
in
it
the,
500 feet?
no.
Okay, well,
They're
then-
illegal then.
You don't,
Right.
no, hang on,
Right,
wait a
right.
second. You're
Well,
duck hunting,
then they're gonna get-
you're duck hunting. If you
The
put your back
blind
to
is
the road,
legal.
you're legal.
Yeah.
Blind is
Right,
legal, but I'm
right.
saying you don't
Yeah,
want to.
but you're not shooting towards the
You don't
road.
want to encourage someone that's, you know, in their, you know, more stealth hunting, so to speak, or stalking. You know, a blind is a safer
Yeah,
way.
I think
to
what
be
you're doing
hunting.
here, I think what you got going on here is, A, we permit a blind, or B, this is a pond that you jump ducks in. That's really the,
Another idea that I have would
And
be,
jumping ducks there is going to cause line of sight issues.
Yeah.
Because the
what
bird's
if
gonna
the
fly.
old blinds
because we've
keep
all
the same
been,
system,
we've
but
all
any
been in
new
that
blinds we put
position
in
where
have
2 years
a
of jumping
lottery
in the
each
same
year for them.
pond from
This will only
different sides.
accommodate one
At the same
blind.
time.
Yeah, but if
And
the
neither
party
party-
had a chance
and
of
neither
getting a spot
party
each
knew the
year
other
when it
one
came
was
up,
there.
They would make it more
I
fair.
like that. I like that.
If you made it so this blind actually had rotated every year, somebody else could
If
get it.
somebody else said they
And
wanted it.
The same guy could get
Well,
it again
it's tough
still.
to have someone spend, it's about $1,500 to build a floating.
Exactly.
At least.
You gotta maintain
least.
it,
Plus your
insure it,
labor.
take pride
At
in it.
least.
You know, this is a real kind of rite of passage kind of thing.
No, I understand that. I'm trying to
So,
respect
To have
that.
someone
I'm just trying
make
to
that
think of other
commitment for
ideas.
1 year.
Why
and
don't you
then
guys
pull it out.
vote on it?
I would like to
Yeah.
make a motion to approve this duck blind.
And I
Is
would
there a
second
second?
that. Yep,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Opposed?
Thank you.
How many abstain?
I'm not voting.
I don't know,
on this.
I'm not
voting?
voting.
How
Well, I
many
don't
are
vote unless
opposed?
it's,
Oh,
right,
okay.
How many are opposed?
2.
Okay.
I'm abstaining.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't
All right,
have
so
I
enough.
would say
Mark,
there's
you're
only a month
opposed.
left of this year's hunting season.
All right, you should. Take me out.
Let
and
the
show me
man
the ropes,
finish
all right?
out
Yeah,
as he's been doing, and let's discuss it for next
It's your
year.
hunter's
Oh, dear.
standee.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is like the most perfect.
I'll bring my phone.
No, no,
Francis,
not
you
bringing your
want to,
phone.
like, look at a second location on there? Perhaps if it
I'll bring my
comes in
waiters. How about
in the
that?
future,
Perfect.
someplace like here?
Whatever they,
Yeah, if
whatever they
if it
think
comes
is
in,
appropriate. I don't know.
You know,
Buy me a shotgun,
I'd
I'll
like
do
to
it.
see one in there first and get a
Yeah.
little feedback.
Scary.
All right, and the second one, Aquatic Harbor, and I believe it's at the foot of
Shipwreck.
Shipwreck, okay.
Yard.
Yard.
Shipyard.
Shipyard, excuse me.
It's a tight area, too.
And
Little tight. To the east is some Nature Conservancy upland property. That's a very safe spot with reserve across the creek as well as behind you. The applicant's proposed location is where there's a current trustee mooring permit as well. And it is in front of a household. The applicant has gotten permission from the homeowner that they do not object to the blind being placed directly in front of the house, but it's a little tight.
Is this a floating?
I would recommend a floating blind for that location so that it's
Is there any other duck blinds there?
not to the
there?
west, up in, the other option is to just ask them to move east a little bit. just
It
to
looks
the
like there's
east.
spots for them
Yeah.
over here.
Yeah, blinds have been issued, if I'm correct, and you're at the road end going to your right.
Correct, right east, east.
Okay? I'm directionally dysfunctional.
And to the left
Okay.
is the Springs General Store?
Up into the back.
Yeah, down in the creek area, yeah.
That's quite a bit down, but there are
So-
one new house to the left, and there is a second
Set
house.
way back.
David's property.
Oh, on the left, I'm sorry, on the right, set way back. Anyway,
To the left, they're pretty close, and the one directly in front is a little close, so.
but I know blind permits have been issued to the east in the
It's
past.
a nice spot to
Going
shoot.
into the west, just, I will disclose, I know the upland property owner right there, and I know the applicant, and I know she only approved this because she also has known his family for over 50 years. And
That's a good thing.
they've had a very difficult year, loss of a family member, you know. She was like okay with it because she knows this young man. You know, I don't think at the time she was aware of this, the fact that once you have a blind, you've now set a precedent, and if this young man doesn't want it next year,
Someone else
she's
can.
now opened the door, you know. So I also know there is a scenic easement along this property right here, so that is something that should be reviewed prior to the issuance of a permit, just to see that there's no conflict.
Well, it would be a floating
know,
blind on
right.
trustee land exclusively.
Right.
Again, it's a little too tight to be anything other than that.
Are there any other
Right.
blinds in that area? No, there's nothing
No.
else?
Not
No
now,
blinds
but
there.
they're apparently.
That's an area where people kayak out of the Springs General
Yes.
Store right
They
through there.
do. They do.
Not this
We're
time.
not in January,
Not
yeah.
at the same time of year,
yeah.
really, though, but
Yeah.
that's not a concern,
But
I
again,
guess.
I mean, this is the same as the last one. You got a month left to hunting season,
Yeah.
Just saying, another
Yeah.
point to be made.
you
That's a
know.
good
Yeah.
point, Tom. That's a good point.
I told him to say it.
I'd like to
Both had
make
the
a
same thought about the
motion
same time.
that we vote on this.
Okay.
But-
there's-
I mean, if
Is it
we
the-
ask the applicant to move it a little bit to the east, he still has a good
Yeah,
spot.
that's fine. with me.
Just to the right of Shipwreck Lane.
Right, that'd be fine.
I think it's a nice spot, it's a good, safe spot to shoot. He's got-
I can picture it, yeah, I can see
No
that road and that landing
That-
there,
that
and on the
western
right
area is a
side.
little bit of a safe
To the right
haven.
Okay.
And we're not up on the houses,
Clear
So it's
view
gonna
of
I
go,
don't,
it's
coming
gonna
in all.
and a clear view of anyone kayaking or paddling.
right
but where you're putting him is very close to a house. On the other side, there's houses too? Oh, you mean like going more westward? You're closer to houses.
More east to the
East.
Nature
When you go to
Conservancy.
the end, to the
East is
right.
Nature Conservancy, no houses,
No house,
no houses.
on either side.
Like if
Right.
you take the road down to the landing.
So you've got 500 feet.
Right, so why don't we just put him on the right-hand side of the road?
Yeah,
So
right,
Yeah?
right of the road.
Okay, okay,
You're recommending relocation to the east?
A little bit.
Yeah.
okay.
Just a little bit.
Right-hand side of the road.
That way, he's not anywhere near the private prop, this particular private property. He's on the nature, adjacent to Nature Conservancy.
That's, yeah, on the other
Correct,
side of
all
the
right.
road from that property.
Okay.
All right, is that something we can vote on?
I put a motion to,
Yeah, we already took a vote over here.
yeah, okay.
I'll second it.
I'm in favor of that one.
All right, and
Motion.
What's that?
who made the motion?
I made the motion.
Jim
Who
did.
seconded it?
I'll second it.
Okay.
We're all in favor, right?
But I'm going to abstain because it is a
Yeah.
relative. Yeah. It is, it's a relative.
That's the right thing to do if you know
That's
somebody.
what you should do.
All
We
right,
included you in the fourth.
one more, I have one more thing?
No.
Yes, I do.
Not another duck line.
No,
The resolution.
All right.
duck blinds are done. We've,
Trustee of the year? No, I'm sorry.
we've accumulated a lot of equipment for the clam contest and various other things, and we do not have the storage space any
And we do
longer.
not
Yard
have
sale.
any room.
There was a previous board that approved the purchase of a shed, however, there was no limit placed on the purchase.
Okay.
You guys okay with getting a shed, first of all?
Okay. easy now.
Yes.
Can we knock the one down that was built on the back of the land building?
Well, we're gonna need something
25,
bigger than
30?
that little thing anyway.
Yeah, knock that down.
Is anything
Yeah.
in that?
Maybe a few
There is.
I'd
but
say
not
minimum
yours.
8 by 10.
Lori, what?
There is,
What I would
but not.
suggest
Mice.
is maybe we
Yeah, a couple
Nest.
raccoons, couple mice.
Yeah.
and go with something that is pre-built,
Right.
that can be delivered, and if need be relocated at some point, so something skid mounted.
You want a wooden one, right?
We can
Yeah.
build it out of old duck.
Yeah, they'll
I'll
come and put it wherever
I'll
you want.
volunteer to research it, it's pretty easy.
Okay, great.
Are we going to be able to put it behind the fence, behind the land building? or-
Lifeguards do whatever the hell they want.
They do, I know, yeah. So take
Yeah,
a spot.
I think we could
Okay.
find a spot.
Yeah. It looks like their shed back there could be relocated as well.
But I
One
don't
straight
think
up,
they
yeah.
want it that big.
Okay,
Just got it there, and they begged to get it.
Okay, you guys gonna make a motion?
relocated.
Jim is going to
Yeah.
research it.
Okay,
And we'll bring it, we'll bring,
then we'll
because that
bring it
way
back.
Okay.
we'll know pricing and
All right.
stuff, and we
Yep.
can.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Get a
And,
big one. Or two small
yeah,
ones,
really big.
yeah.
okay.
And we're looking for something, assuming like shingled.
Yeah, we wanted to fit the character of it, because
Yeah.
it is a historic district, even though no one's going to see it.
Yeah,
No, it should, it
In
should.
case we have to put it in front of the building.
yeah.
On Bluff
I've always
Road.
thought that'd be fine.
Yeah, right outside, right outside the office.
Office.
Give it
Yeah,
character.
that's where I'm gonna go.
Okay, love that
Yeah,
place.
they're nice people.
Oh, yeah.
They got
They
the
made- they made my
equipment,
chicken
all
coop.
filled over Ridge.
Oh, yeah. No,
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, nice place.
Okay, and
Okay.
Where?
I just want to clarify, as per the resolutions, am I
Calverton.
able to sign the agreement with Rick Whalen?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody have anything else?
I make a motion to close the meeting.
All in
Do
favor?
you have anything?
Need a second.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Executive session or no?
We need
Sorry?
Stay here for a while?